Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Sydney Winston. I'm an atheist activist out of Vancouver, Canada. Um, you know Otangelo, right? Otangelo leads um, the Christian club on the internet, and he has he has minions, and one of them is Darth Dawkins, is a Otangelo minion, and basically Otangelo has joined Darth's fan club. Let's see why. What would attract anybody to join Darth Dawkins' fan club? Listen in.
Man, what I am thoroughly delighted with you, Otangelo, is that you've seen the light insofar as J.L. Warren. You've seen the light.
I was yesterday at J.L. Warren's channel, and I was interacting in the side chat. Then he started to claim that I was promoting Ron Wyatt's Noah's Ark, and I corrected him and said, hey, that's not what I promote. I believe that Noah's Ark is on Mount Ararat. He kept insisting that, and then I wrote in the side chat, hey, that is a lie. You are lying about what I believe. They muted me, and then I came here on Discord and I called him out on it and say, hey, you are deliberately misrepresenting my
position. Yeah, welcome to J.L. Warren world.
Yeah. So I said, okay, so now you are just confirmed. I thought to myself, this is precisely what Darth Dawkins said about you, and that confirms it. You are deliberately lying.
Wait a minute. Did you think this, or did you say that to him?
No, I basically I said sorry, but I said fuck off, liar. You know?
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute! You've been hanging around me too much. I'm a bad influence.
You know, I mean,
you see, even listen. Did you see that, folks? Otangelo is always cool, calm, and collected, and these filthy, lying scumbags even make Otangelo so indignant that he says something a little bit crass, like I did. Welcome to the club, Otangelo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you see how infuriating these people are?
Yes, I mean, that made me really angry because he was deliberately misrepresenting what I proclaim and what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said to him, hey, have you ever seen me saying that I believe that Ron Wyatt's rock structure near Mount Ararat is Noah's Ark? I've never said that. He kept insisting in it and said, hey,
look,
you are deliberately lying about me.
This guy is either just a pathological liar or he's fundamentally incompetent. He stated that William Lane Craig was the world's most preeminent exponent. That's my word, but he said proponent of biblical presuppositionalism. He's an ignoramus because William Lane Craig is a critic of biblical presuppositionalism. Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of incompetence that we're dealing with.
I mean, he constantly called me out that I am a liar and things like that, you know. And I mean, I don't care. But at the moment, that
one thing that you are not, one thing you're not is you're not a liar.
I mean, I don't care, but as soon as he started deliberately misrepresenting what I believe, that really infuriated me because then he is willingly lying about me and misrepresenting what I actually believe.
Yeah, this isn't an isolated issue. This is a character issue with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, that means...
Yeah, you see, do you remember when I asked you not to dialogue with him or Sydney Winston because these pieces of internet garbage that he slandered and defamed me about my personal life, making accusations, both of them, that are completely false about my personal life. Okay. So now you know just a little bit of how I feel when he misrepresented your position. Just imagine how you would feel like if you were in my shoes, if he was personally slandering you about your personal life.
For you to sleep around on me, unprotected, and risk my life, my children, and possibly having a child outside of this marriage is unforgivable.
But yes, the STD is really a big issue.
Okay, so they had Gary's ex-wife admitting what a problem it is when your husband strays and comes back home and brings in STD. And STD stands for sexually transmitted disease. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Gary Milne, today, Gary Milne is going around saying that this is slander. This type of information is slander and it didn't happen. Well, Gary, then if it didn't happen, why does your ex-wife say it happened? And I'll get into him saying it. He's in denial about his being a perverted, non-Christian sinner. He's going to hell. Gary's going to hell. There's no doubt about it, Gary. You are going to hell. In fact, I've been advised, Gary Milne, that there's a special place in hell, specially carved out for you, sir. Bring sunscreen, I understand. Bring lots and lots of sunscreen. Preferably have it made out of asbestos. That'll help you a little bit in your special place in hell. I also want to reach out to Otangelo, my friend. So I'm so sorry that Gary is browbeating you and bullying you like he is. I think threatening you and otherwise making your life feel useless, making you feel miserable is not. It's uncalled for. I'm going to prove my points, of course, in the next. What do we got coming up? Okay, we got, this is great. Darth Dawkins, Gary Milne once bumped into a gentleman by the name of J.L. Warren. And J.L. Warren tore Gary Milne apart into 1,000 little pieces. It was beautiful, and I'm going to help you relive this if you've already seen it, and if you haven't seen it, it's treat time, ladies.
That is simply no fun for anyone. I have, however, engaged directly with Darth in the past. One exchange was rather unexpected as he kind of injected himself into a conversation I was having with someone else, which is why I wasn't really prepared to record it. He challenged my assertion that the Bible was not evidence for anything verifiable. I stated that an example was the incorrect science stated in the book. He asked me for one example of this, and I stated the order of creation as presented in Genesis. He asked me, how did I know it was incorrect? And I responded that we can observe it empirically today, and there's no evidence, direct or indirect, that suggests that the order was ever different in the past. His response was that it was the most ignorant answer he'd ever heard in his life. I responded that just because he thinks it's ignorant doesn't mean it's incorrect. And then he asked me how old I was, which of course is completely irrelevant. He then continued to berate me until I walked away. Darth's intention was to incite me by insulting me, and then when that didn't work, he went for the ad hom attack setup by asking me my age. Because just because you're an old fuck means you know more than everybody else, right?
Right.
He never once refuted my argument, discredited my position, or even bothered to steelman it. That is because Darth's only tactic is to use bad logic to shift the burden of proof from himself to me. His goal is merely to try and trick any atheist that he interacts with into making the positive claim that God does not exist, so he can call them out for a lack of evidence. And this is Darth arguing purely in bad faith, and thinking he's getting away with it. He's not interested in speaking on equal footing. He's not interested in an exchange of ideas. He's not even interested in hearing what anyone has to say. So at this point, I have decided that it is pointless to ever engage with this asshole again.
Jogger.
Now, all joking aside, I honestly think that Darth's persistently vile behavior is indicative of greater mental health problems. He is possessed by a deep-seated rage, a rage developed over decades of truly unfortunate life circumstances. And so, like any bully, he turns that rage against anyone who does not see the world he does or accept it by his terms. And even though he's demonstrated that he has been the primary agency behind most of his unfortunate circumstances, I pity him. I pity what appears to me to be a self-imposed, miserable, and lonely existence. And while he viciously attacks the LGBTQ community, liberals, progressives, democratic socialists, Catholics, the media, and even Hollywood, his prime targets are atheists. And I think it's because he knows that atheists, by and large, approach the world with as little bias and as much honesty as possible.
Correct.
Because atheists tend to have a good understanding of and are not really conflicted about the seemingly chaotic and random nature of the universe. Because
Right.
atheists are free to question the world, to critically analyze the evidence, to use that to make the world a better place for others.
Isn't that true? We're free to use the evidence objectively. Christians, unfortunately, are not.
And will never cease in doing so. Because atheists are interested in what we can determine to the best of our abilities, objective truths, and not just the personal ones that make us feel better. And Darth Dawkins, the lonely, angry, toxic, cowardly, cellar-dwelling abomination of a man, is only interested in his own fucking self. This piece of shit and Daniel Pratt are fucking made for each other.
I wanna kiss you all over. To the night closes.
Thank you so much for joining me on this deconstruction of Darth Dawkins. I
Oh,
truly hope
awesome.
you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to like and subscribe. Be sure to hit that bell for notifications. Any questions, comments, or criticism, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Your feedback consistently helps me to improve, and I love interacting with all of you. Also, if you dig horror films, feel free to check out my podcast, Week in Horror, where we deep dive horror movies that released chronologically that week. Whether a filmmaker or just a fan, we have something for everyone. And if you'd like to...
Wait. Did I miss out a whole bunch of stuff? I did. Somehow, I screwed up. Somehow, can you believe that I screwed up? It's not enough that I mute when I'm talking, but now I take J.L. Warren's and I didn't finish his talk. Let me see if I can find out where we were, alright? Okay?
I do this not to try and convert anyone or specifically to trash theists of any cut. I do this for the audience listening. I do this to expose the illogical nature and irrationality of the theist position.
Yes.
Whether it's circular arguments, intellectual dishonesty, or the many logical fallacies committed in support of their irrational positions,
now we're
or
going
worse,
somewhere.
their unjustifiable behavior. Normally, these encounters go rather well. I had a debate with a theist on the plot hole that was very cordial. You can check that out in the link below. Sometimes, though, they can be kinda rough. John 5:31. If I
Shouting me down will not
I
work.
alone bear witness about myself, my testimony is not deemed true. That tells followers to go out and do these works. But Romans 14:22, that faith that you have, keep between yourself and God. That means keep it to yourself and keep it secret. So which are you following? It is contradictions like this that are rife through your immoral book. Now, in my journey, I've encountered some truly piss-poor examples of humanity. Homophobes, transphobes, racists, misogynists, con artists, and other abysmal trash heaps disguised as human beings. And while there isn't much that really gets me riled up, a surefire way to do it is to either misrepresent my position or gish-gallop positive claim after positive claim with zero demonstrable evidence to support any of them. This all being said, we now come to the purpose of this video, and it's the absolutely toxic, destructive, skin-crawling abomination known as Darth Dawkins. Some of you may know him personally and have even had the misfortune to engage with him in one of the many Discord servers that he squats in. Some may have only heard of him by reputation or through videos like the ones created by Tom Rabbittt. And for others, this will be your introduction. For that, I am deeply sorry. Darth Dawkins, a tongue-in-cheek slight at prominent atheist Richard Dawkins, has gone by many names throughout his 10-year history of attacking atheists, including Evolution False, EF, DD, Mauling Atheism, and Duncan Atheism. Darth Dawkins is currently his favorite. Darth classifies himself as a fundamentalist, presuppositional Christian apologist.
I hate the wickedness of America and all the sin worshippers who populate it. And I grieve by those that rise up against thee. I hate them with a perfect hatred.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. In short, Darth is, and I use the term very lightly, a Christian that believes the Bible is fundamentally true and accurate in all things, like God creating light before the sun and stars, Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, talking snakes, talking donkeys, talking trees, and burning bushes.
Giggity, giggity.
He also fights to defend his Christianity against any and all objections.
I kick ass for the Lord.
As he believes not only that God exists, but that he has somehow proven God beyond a shadow of a doubt through the use of the laws of logic applied within the philosophy of metaphysics.
How did you do that, my son?
That's a damn good question. Darth also believes that he accomplishes this with screaming rants that are usually homophobic.
Oh, good. I'll turn you down to 1%, fag.
Transphobic.
Are you sure you're not a tranny? Because you sure argue like a hysterical woman.
Misogynistic.
This is a woman who has no self-control when she gets emotional.
And chock full of insults and ad homs intended to denounce his opponents with assertions that they are being deliberately argumentative.
Now you're going to plan B to be belligerent, obnoxious, and argumentative.
Okay, you're getting this, right? So you're getting that Darth Dawkins is a sleazy, slimy cockroach of a human being, okay? He's been called out brilliantly by JL here. Brilliantly. Nobody could have done a better job than this man. I suggest you look it up on his channel and watch this clip without me interrupting it. It's brilliant.
They are absolutely ignorant or moronic.
Hey, morons.
Or that they are deceitful, pathological liars.
He's a fake, a phony, and he's a fraud, and he's a pathological liar.
So the question remains, why would anyone in their right mind want to engage with someone who argues solely in bad faith?
You're done. We're going to move on. You're a moron. This is why it is so problematic talking with people who are morons.
Someone who refuses to answer questions by screaming not to be overtalked.
It wasn't intended to. Don't overtalk me. Don't overtalk me.
Someone whose only goal is to pander to his slavering, borderline psychotic sycophants.
What a pathological liar. Now, did anybody hear an answer to my question? Did that address my question?
A person so utterly poisonous, so close-minded, so implicitly intellectually dishonest.
Honestly, I have no fucking idea.
Most do it for the laughs, some for the dumpster fire joy, But there are some, like myself, that aim to prove not to Darth, but to the silent minority listening, that he and his followers' positions may not be as objectively true as they claim they are. So let's take a deeper look into the acidic cesspool that is Darth Dawkins. Darth pretty much begins every argument asking one extremely bad question. How is there no God? The reason this is a bad question is because of its loaded terminology. The word how implies some sort of functionality, demanding the atheist answer to the systemic function of something that there is no evidence for. Should one be able to logic their way past that, Darth will inevitably ask his big gotcha question. What is the universal ultimacy that instantiates facts, grounds all causal relationships, and determines what is possible and impossible?
Right.
From there, he'll begin to work his way down a specially designed apologetics script. This script is chock full of very specific terminology, each one chosen for their wide range of contextual definitions. Terms such as ultimacy, absolute, reality, special, natural, revelation, instantiate, and truth. The tactic here is designed to confuse and keep opponents' definition-specific argumentations off balance as Darth slowly alters his own definitions as he moves from context to context. His script is also ripe with loaded questions that he will only accept yes or no answers to, while the questions, depending upon that shifting context, may not have clear yes and no answers. This forces his interlocutors into specific, often disingenuous answers, which is a tactic used to ultimately entrap them into a position that Darth will then refer to as absurd or incoherent.
The triune God of the Christian scriptures who exists, who created this world, has revealed himself through natural revelation, all of creation. The heavens declare the glory of God, Psalm 14, Romans 1. And he is the necessary preconditions for all viability of facts and intelligibility of facts, and the denial of which leads to complete metaphysical collapse and unintelligibility, absurdity.
And yes, at this point, the atheist argument is absurd, because so long as the atheist follows Darth's script, Darth's argumentation and demand to only accept specific answers ensures this conclusion. And because often the atheist has no interest in being banned from the server, they will often let Darth run roughshod all over them. Usually, just to be banned for the trouble.
Okay, bye-bye!
Now, typically in these arguments, atheists, in an effort to ensure that they speak from a rational, intellectually honest position, will appeal to evidence, the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid, such as the empirical observations of the universe, the demonstrable descriptive laws of reality, or the many novel predictive models that we use to understand the difference between what is real and what is imaginary.
Bet those science chicks really dig that large cranium of yours, huh?
But the evidence doesn't matter to Darth. He will often assert the Aquinas argument from contingency, that understanding or knowing anything about the universe, even the instantiation of facts themselves, all require a primary ultimacy for those facts to be derived from. Something that keeps the order of those facts. Some lawgiver that gave the laws. That for the laws of logic to even exist would require a supremely powerful mind.
It's over 9,000!
And Darth is not absolutely wrong in this metaphysical hypothesis.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Well, there very well could be some grand divine being out there who
Really?
kicked the
I
football
don't
on the
think so.
universe and then fucked right off.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Thanks, dude. The problem is, such a grand divine being remains undetectable in this universe.
Right.
There is no evidence of such a thing's interaction with this reality, much less even its existence. And while the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, it still holds the same logical value as non-existence until such evidence is put forward. It is essentially a value of zero, and therefore any conclusions drawn from that value are necessarily unjustified and wholly irrational. Now, If you were even to get to this point, Darth will either flip out and ban you, screaming you until you walk away, or if he doesn't possess kick power on the server, run away himself, citing technical issues, or he'll just sit there quietly and ignore everything you say.
Do you like...
And we're going to continue.
Do not overtalk me.
And this is because Darth forgets one very simple flaw in his entire argument: the axiom. Axioms are statements or propositions which are regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. Like the meat tube is a foundational part of that which is Team Skeptic, axioms are equally foundational. Darth's axiom is God exists, therefore. From that foundation, he builds his worldview, but already we can see many issues here. Because while an axiom is unjustified and cannot be disproven outright, they can be internally critiqued for a lack of intellectual honesty regarding the extremity of their magnitude. An axiom should be open to new information as it arrives. If your axioms are intractable, they can entrap you in poor reasoning or illogical, irrational positions because they would not allow for the study or testing of contradictory evidence.
Exactly.
Darth's axiom refuses to address such issues as God is a moral monster, the problem of evil, Averroes's paradox of the stone, the veracity of miracles, and the lack of objective truth of any religion. If someone is able to boil down Darth's arguments beyond the esoteric semantics of subjective metaphysics and has not been kicked or banned at this point, it becomes apparently clear there is an impasse.
Now let me pass.
No.
And this is because it serves nothing to argue axioms. Axioms by their nature are subjective. They are not by definition justified or rational. And Darth will never concede that his God presupposition is equal in its unjustification to any atheist I exist proposition.
Right.
It is at this point it becomes absolutely clear that it is pointless to speak with Darth Dawkins, much less argue with him, if the intention is anything beyond watching a slow-motion train wreck.
I agree.
If the debate is about the social behaviors of believers or the unjustified positions of theists regarding education, healthcare, or politics, then sure, that would be fine. But the moment you get into the subjective weeds of metaphysics, with both positions being necessarily unjustified, the debate stops. And that is because God is an unfalsifiable hypothesis. It is an answer inserted into the gaps of our knowledge, the presupposed answer for questions we don't yet have answers for.
Correct.
Once you've reached the questions of what exists beyond demonstrable reality, what came before the Planck time, or the mechanism by which the fundamental elements that compose life first joined together to kickstart what we have on this planet, we simply do not have those answers. Yet. But Darth and his ilk will presume that the answer is a God. But their circular reasoning, such as God is true because of the Bible, which is true because of God, is simply so fallacious, it is insufficient for any atheist to accept such a claim. Darth, however, will never accept this. He will never accept that he could be wrong about his entire position. He will never accept anything that derails his script, and if something does, he simply bans anyone who challenges him with a question that he cannot answer. With all this stated, I will say that I have had some decent conversations with a few of Darth's sycophants, so long as Darth is not around. If he is around, however, his presence will embolden them to act as he does, and that is simply no fun for anyone. I have, however, engaged directly with Darth in the past. One exchange was rather unexpected, as he kind of injected himself into a conversation I was having with someone else, which is why I wasn't really prepared to record it. He challenged my assertion that the Bible was not evidence for anything verifiable. I stated that an example was the incorrect science stated in the book. He asked me for one example of this, and I stated the order of creation as presented in Genesis. He asked me, how did I know it was incorrect? And I responded that we can observe it empirically today, and there's no evidence, direct or indirect, that suggests that the order was ever different in the past. His response was that it was the most ignorant answer he'd ever heard in his life. I responded that just because he thinks it's ignorant doesn't mean it's incorrect. And then
this is where we came in.
I was,
yeah,
which of course is completely irrelevant. Yeah. He then continued to berate me until I walked away. Darth's intention was to incite me by insulting me, and then when that didn't work, he went for the ad hom attack setup by asking me.
Okay, so just to sort of tickle your memory here. Darth's intention is to insult, okay? It's true. This is what JL has pointed out. Darth Dawkins, Gary Mills' intention is to insult. And he does it. He does it famously. He does it successfully. He is a master of the insult. Just remember this.
My age. Because just because you're an old fuck means you know more than everybody else. Right?
Right. Yeah,
he never once refuted my argument, discredited my position, or even bothered to steel man it. That is because Darth's only tactic is to use bad logic to shift the burden of proof from himself to me. His goal is merely to try and trick any atheist that he interacts with into making the positive claim that God does not exist, so he can call them out for a lack of evidence. And this is Darth arguing purely in bad faith, and thinking he's getting away with it. He's not interested in speaking on equal footing. He's not interested in an exchange of ideas. He's not even interested in hearing what anyone has to say. So at this point, I have decided that it is pointless to ever engage with this asshole again.
Good man.
Jog on.
Now, all joking aside, I honestly think that Darth's persistently vile behavior is indicative of greater mental health problems. He is possessed by a deep-seated rage, a rage developed over decades of truly unfortunate life circumstances. And so, like any bully, he turns that rage against anyone who does not see the world he does or accept it by his terms. And even though he's demonstrated that he has been the primary agency behind most of his unfortunate circumstances, I pity him. I pity what appears to me to be a self-imposed, miserable, and lonely existence. And while he viciously attacks the LGBTQ community, liberals, progressives, democratic socialists, Catholics, the media, and even Hollywood, his prime targets are atheists. And I think it's because he knows that atheists, by and large, approach the world with as little bias and as much honesty as possible. Because atheists tend to have a good understanding of, and are not really conflicted about, the seemingly chaotic and random nature of the universe. Because atheists are free to question the world, to critically analyze the evidence, to use that to make the world a better place for others, and will never cease in doing so. Because atheists are interested in what we can determine to the best of our abilities, objective truths, and not just the personal ones that make us feel better. And Darth Dawkins, the lonely, angry, toxic, cowardly, cellar-dwelling abomination of a man, is only interested in his own fucking self. This piece of shit and Daniel Pratt are fucking made for each other.
I've seen this. Listen, I remember this from the earlier on.
Thanks so much for joining me on this deconstruction of Darth Dawkins. I truly hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Be sure to hit that bell for notifications. Any questions, comments, or criticism, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Your feedback.
Okay, now that's JL Warren. JL Warren has a YouTube, and I would suggest you subscribe to JL. He's got some excellent content. JL Warren shorts are particularly interesting. They're like about a minute long, and he does a good job with them. All right, so let's move on, shall we? And this time, we have Tom Rabbittt to thank for what is coming up. But before I present it, I need to make it look a little bit presentable. So just give me 1 second, okay? 1 second. Okay, there we go. I think that should do it. There we go. Okay, so now bear in mind what JL Warren just said, and let's listen to this. Thank you, Tom Rabbittt, for this beautiful piece of masterpiecery. Is that such a word? I don't think so. Anyway, here we go.
point is, these people are phonies. Every single one of them.
We agree on that. Listen, you know the plot.
Okay, there's Otangelo. Otangelo is Darth Dawkins' little mini Gary. But listen to how Otangelo is treated by this piece of shit Gary Milne.
I told you that they invited me to have a debate about the age
no,
of the
don't
Earth.
even listen to me. Don't even go on there. Both of them have the mentalities and disposition of obnoxious teenagers, and they're grown adults. So I would not go on their show. J.L. Warren has publicly slandered and defamed me. He has been confronted in writing on Discord and verbally, and he has doubled down on his slander of me. They've also done repeated attacks upon me. Johnny O at the Plot Hole recently did a bizarre psychotic rant against me. You can watch it yourself. It was like a 15-year-old did it. Okay, if you're going to go on an atheist show, at least go on a show that doesn't engage in public slander and defamation of a fellow Christian and atheists who don't behave like absolute imbeciles.
The thing is that when they proposed first debate the age of the Earth, then I asked him, is my interlocutor an atheist because of the age of the Earth? And he said no. And then I said, well, so then I see no reason to debate the age of the Earth, because I want to have debates with people which are atheists. And then he proposed me to have a debate about theism against.
So this is essentially Otangelo kissing Gary's butt to make excuses for why he's hanging out with other atheists, why he's even communicating with other atheists. Gestapo Gary is going to lay down the law. Gestapo Gary?
Atheist. I said, okay, we can have that. And then I had an interaction with Jill Warren, and he was constantly over-talking me, and then I left the room. And then yesterday I did find out that actually my debate partner on Thursday will be Jill Warren. And I said, okay, I will debate you, but if it is a moderated debate where I have my time to actually answer to you. They agreed. So I will not retract now. I will have that debate. I have checked his YouTube channel, and he has a stream there, top 10 arguments why God doesn't exist. So I like to know who I am debating in order to prepare myself. And I started to watch his stream. The first thing that he says, Yahweh is the thunder god. I said, what?
So?
God?
Yeah, so
I've never
what?
heard that before. So I have started actually to investigate this, and I've uploaded a book in regards of the names of the Old Testament and the ancient Near Eastern and so forth. And actually the thunder god or the storm god was Baal.
Now listen to Otangelo, how he's trying to explain himself, okay? Now remember that Gary is very volatile. He's got flash anger issues.
Not Yahweh. So you see, that is precisely what I am saying. He is giving me motivation to actually dive into these arguments and then refute them. If you see, Yahweh is I am, and I am is absolutely a fantastic description of God, because it comes in the Old Testament over 6,000 times, and it means I am. He is the eternal. He has never.
Hey Otangelo, how would you feel it if there was some moron atheist who had a stupid YouTube channel almost nobody knows about, came out and publicly slandered?
Here it comes. Here it comes. Hello. Oh, hello.
Defamed you. Was
Hold on a second.
About it,
Hold on a
was
second.
defiant about it, unrepentant about it. Okay, they publicly slandered and defamed you. Okay, and then your other fellow Christians that you interact with are just going to go on and give them the right hand of fellowship in a debate. Okay, How would you like that?
I mean, you are not alone. I mean, I've been slandered at Speed's channel.
No, I'm talking about, listen, I'm not just talking about somebody criticizing and ridicule you. We're talking about public slander about one's personal life, okay? Now, do you remember what you wrote at Sidney Winston's channel?
If you've seen my replies there, I've replied.
Right, and do you know that J.L. Warren has done a very similar type of slander against me? Yet you're going on and treating him, like he's just a regular, typical atheist.
Okay, first of all, I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm knowing it by you right now. I've committed to have this debate. I will not retract it, but I will consider what you are saying.
I mean,
J.L. Warren is somebody who is a vicious, stupid YouTube atheist. He thinks he's smart. He's not. Okay, and he's somebody who has publicly engaged in slander and defamation against me. Okay, and he's been confronted about it, and he is defiant about apologizing for it, and he doubles and triples down on it. This is the kind of guy who claims that when I ask him, "Oh, where'd you get this information from?" I said,
Well, I happened to have been away. Can you believe this? I stepped away from my desk, and when I did that, he mentioned me. I didn't even know that. I hadn't heard that part before. This is the real time me, by the way, not the playback. Sorry, I just wanted to. Oh, yeah, there was one thing I wanted to mention. I think that this is the end of seeing Otangelo in any of our rooms, because if he's now friends with Darth Dawkins, and Darth Dawkins if Darth Dawkins does not allow, or if he lays down the law and says, I will not be friends with you if you enter any atheist rooms, especially Sidney Winston's room, then we can expect to not see Otangelo around in atheist chat rooms. Maybe some of them, some of those, if there are any, and I don't know that there are, if there are any atheists who are sort of neutral with Darth, and Darth can talk to them, but I don't know of any. So yeah, let's just continue with this, because I'm fascinated, actually.
Because it's false. And he goes, journalistic privilege. He claimed he was a journalist. This is the kind of psycho that we're dealing with, okay? So you want to go on and debate somebody who you already know has publicly slandered and defamed a fellow brother in the faith? Go ahead, Otangelo. Then I won't have respect for you, okay? No different between you going on and debating with Sidney Winston, okay?
That's up to you, Darth. I mean, I denied to have a debate in regards of the age of the Earth. I felt already, because he disrespected me in a conversation, constantly over-talking me, and I left the room. So when I knew that it was him, I demanded that it would be a moderated debate. So I know about the territory that I am walking to. But if I renounce or deny after I gave
all hot air is coming out of your mouth. Okay.
You see, Darth Dawkins is not going to relent. He's going to insist on giving instructions to Otangelo not to engage with these atheists that he mentioned. 3 of them, I believe.
Okay, you're just making one excuse after another. Okay, I told him out of respect for a fellow Christian, you should not debate this scumbag. Okay, he's a pig.
No, if he, come on, Darth, man. If he had a prior commitment and he didn't know him.
Who's a pig? Who's a pig? I'll tell you who's a pig. Gary Milne's a pig.
All this stuff. Why would you want to back out now all of a sudden just because he found out about
hey,
this?
listen, when you publicly retract your slander and your defamation against Darth Dawkins about stuff in his personal life, which Darth has publicly repeated is categorically false, say, good, then I'll talk with you.
And all I'm saying is the fact that Otangelo commits to a previous commitment, or follows through on the previous commitment, it's not some slight against you in any way, and especially if he didn't know all that information before you just told him.
But now you know.
Is this a debate right now?
No. It is set for next Thursday. And
So Darth can ask you a question.
Good. Say good. Say I will say good. I'll show up next Thursday, but I await you offering a public apology for slandering Darth Dawkins. Okay, and say, oh, and by the way, when you issue that public apology for slandering Darth Dawkins about his personal life, okay, then I'll be there on Friday.
I will do following. You don't
have the balls to do it.
No, what I will do, Darth.
You know what? I've been thinking about that. The text that I have there, and it says, and I know you can't see it because it's right behind, but it says Gary Milne brought home various sexually transmitted diseases. Well, okay, I kind of made a presumption that there were more than one. I said various sexually transmitted diseases. Now that is possible, but I've been thinking about this, not a lot, just while I've been watching this, and I think, as you probably saw added in the previous video, that I think it was herpes or just one disease. Excuse me, I am on air. It was just one. That's my boss. There was just one, like herpes. I think he brought him something like herpes. Ugh, that's disgusting. Look at that poor woman's face. She does not look happy, and that's his ex-wife. Yeah, let's carry on. Sorry, I'm interrupting so much. But I am an interrupter. Click. Lots of information, cool information.
I will concede this. I will ask him to publicly apologize for his slandering. I will not condition it on my appearance on Thursday.
This Jared Tommy.
Commitment, Darth. He has to uphold his commitment.
I
Doesn't
forgot to
matter
mute.
whether he finds out, further information. He's already made a
I mean, if I will retract because of that.
Yeah, I just think you're wrong on this one, Darth. I'm sorry, man. I can't agree with you on this.
I mean, they will start to slander me and saying that I'm a pussy and that I'm afraid of them and it's not a real justification not to appear.
You are a pussy.
Calling our insights. We're talking about slander in one's personal life. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't be slander if they said that he doesn't, Otangelo doesn't uphold his commitments. That would be true.
Good. Say I made a commitment, but now I'll keep the commitment, but you need to publicly apologize for your slander.
I will write to them and I will call them out in regards of
Then if he refuses to apologize, he's the one who's abrogating the commitment.
Yeah, well, if he says, I'm holding you to your commitment, your prior commitment that was unconditional.
Since when of these... unconditional.
I mean, if it wasn't spelled out either way, whether it was conditional or not, I still think there's something to be said about...
What? None of you guys would be talking this way if you were on the receiving end of the kind of slander and defamation that pieces of garbage like J.L. Warren and Sidney Witness and Godness Girl, you would be singing the same tune that I do, okay?
First of all...
I'm not even saying that you're wrong necessarily, but we have no way of knowing that.
Let me answer that. Dart, you've not seen any
of those... What?
Listen, Dart. You've not seen basically
Tonlock, you have no way of knowing what?
I'm just saying, you might be right that I might respond in a certain type of a different kind of a way if the slander was the same level or worse or whatever, but there's nothing that necessitates that I would think the same way. What could you say? I probably would, maybe, but there's nothing that necessitates that whatsoever.
Look, here's the question, right? Are we obligated to uphold our commitments, Darth, or do you think there's some exception here?
When we're just talking about an agreement to show up, but then when we find out that somebody has engaged publicly in egregious manner, that you can add a qualifier. I will keep my commitment, but you need to publicly apologize. And if you don't, then you're abrogating, me coming on. Okay.
I agree with Parakeet and Tom Locke that I accepted to invite unconditionally.
Good. Go show up. Okay. Go show up. Don't bother talking with me anymore.
Listen to them. Listen to his
Now
attitude.
listen, I want to say this as well. You've not seen any of the others which are frequently here on Discord defending you.
Good. I understand that. Go. Keep. Hey, Otangelo. Go keep your commitment. Okay. Thanks for your time.
I'm just not sure, because I recall in the Bible that there was Roman soldiers who became Christians and were told to, continue their commitment, to fulfill their commitment to the Roman army.
Apples and oranges, my friend.
Okay, well, what's the?
I just don't see the connection to him. Like,
so what he did was he kicked Otangelo out. I understand. So he kicks Otangelo out of his. He kicked Otangelo out of the room there, and banned him, I believe, from that server.
licensing or condoning any slander against you because of I just don't see it, man. I don't.
Well, I mean, I agree. They're two different scenarios, but I just don't know why. I mean, I think that in the future he should say, well, if you want me to show up, you're going to have to apologize. Right? But
the debate hasn't taken place. Saying, as a qualifier for the debate, now that this new information has been presented to me that I was not aware that you have publicly slandered and defamed. Okay, say I still intend to keep my commitment, but you need to apologize. You need to
apologize for
your public slander.
This,
but he won't
right?
do that because he cares more about somebody going, you didn't keep your commitment, than not standing up to internet scum who purposely and recklessly engage in slander. Okay? He cares more about that than standing up to a fellow brother who's doing apologetics being slandered.
Maybe he cares about maintaining his commitments and being truthful.
No, he cares more about making his commitment than standing up for the truth.
Who, Blackout?
What do you want him to do? What do you expect him to do in this situation, dog? What do you...
J.L. Warren is a repugnant individual, even if he hadn't slandered me. Okay, but he has come out and he's publicly slandered and defamed me with absolute false personal information about my life. He's been confronted about it. He's openly defiant about it, okay, in writing and in audio. Otangelo knows about that, and he still plans to go and talk with him like J.L. Warren is not an outright public slanderer. We're not talking about J.L. Warren or any other atheist for that matter. Says, I don't like Darth Dawkins. He's a dirtbag. He said he has purposely gone out there and he slandered me, okay? And he's defiant about it. He's unrepentant, even when I explained to him it's that you have false information, right? And yet Otel's going, I made a commitment to show up next Friday. I don't care. Well, you're acting like this is a legal contract.
How do you know he's not going on there in hopes of making a fool out of him? Even, with knowing the information, maybe his perspective could be expanded.
He now knows that so you see how many times people say, I initially agree, but I've decided that I don't want to do it. That's not breaking in a commitment. It's a tentative agreement to show up and to talk or debate. This is not like a legal contract or some type of moral commitment. It's just like, I'll show up on such and such debate. You mean that's irretrievable? It can never be retracted?
I'm not connecting this, man. It's like you're saying he's co-signing the slander by going. What if he found out some terrible stuff about J.L. Warren? Okay, like hypothetically, he was engaged in pornography or whatever. I'm not accusing him of that. Okay, he would certainly back out of that. Okay. Look, I'm done. I'm finished what I have to say. He wants to sit there going, I have to keep my commitment. No, you don't. There's nothing immoral about saying I've had a change of mind about the scheduled appointment because you have publicly slandered Darth Dawkins. Okay? There's nothing immoral or breaking some type of
Publicly slandered Darth Dawkins? I don't think so. I really just don't think so. And I'm going to remind you, hi everybody. Regarding this public slander, I just want to remind you of one thing, okay? Give me 1 second. Let me just show you what Otangelo says there. And just give me 1 moment here. Excellent. Okay, so public slander. Okay, now this was public, and this was first-hand victim information.
For you to sleep around on me, unprotected, and risk my life, my children, and possibly having a child outside of this marriage is unforgivable.
But yes, the STD is really a big issue.
Okay. So here we have a situation that, let me get myself, let me just move, get my big fat body out of the way. All right, so here we have a situation. Okay, so here we go. That's when I was thinking about, you know, various STDs. It's kind of a stretch. It's not impossible, but it's kind of a stretch as a you know, the next possible thing. So I figured herpes seems to be the thing that is an STD. I don't believe herpes ever goes away. I think you have herpes for life, and I believe it's a virus, and it sits dormant inside your body once you get it, and it goes into dormancy, but it can recur at any time, based on things like instigators like stress, I think, and lower immunity or something like that. So it's something that if you bring it home and you give it to your wife, she's got it forever and you've got it forever. Now, as far as this this human cockroach, I'm so sorry. I apologize to all cockroaches. You know, the shit that's on the bottom of a cockroach's cockroach's feet, the shit that sticks to the cockroach's feet, that's all Darth Dawkins. So he brings home this disease, but he stays in his mother's basement all the time, and he doesn't. He's got serious mental challenges, and so it doesn't matter. He's taken himself out of everybody's social circle, except for him and his digital friends. His wife, Carol, on the other hand, is the one who's the big loser here. And I won't go into why, because you can figure it out for yourself. All right, so I'm going to take you back to the original one, and let's just carry on.
Contractual agreements, just like, oh, okay, I'll show up and debate. Okay, be one.
There's nothing immoral with cheating on your wife, Mr. Christian hypocrite. Nothing immoral with going out and fucking without a condom and bringing home sexually transmitted diseases to your innocent wife, waiting for you at home, looking after your children. Gary Milne, you disgusting, dirty, perverted piece of shit.
It would be one thing if he says, yeah, I will show up at X amount of time on such and such date, and then you don't show up at all. That would be different. But this is days and days before it, okay?
Wait, Darth, I kind of came in late. Who are you debating? Or planning to debate?
You came into late discussion, and I'm not going to recap the whole thing. And I'm done. I have nothing more to say. I don't have any respect for Otangelo if he goes on there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I told Otangelo before he shouldn't be talking with Jack Engstrom, okay? Because he's a slanderer too, right? He's an internet stalker and a slanderer. And I said, you shouldn't give these people the time of day. What does Otangelo go? And he just goes on and he talks with them as though he's just a normal, everyday atheist. How bad do some of these atheists have to behave until some of you Christians will draw the line and say, you know what? You're persona non grata. You behave in this way, you've crossed the line of being.
I got a better question. How bad do Christians have to behave, Gary Milne? How bad do Christians have to behave until they stop fearing you and following you around like you're their big protective daddy, out of fear that if they don't listen to you, you can beat them up, you can insult them, hurt their feelings. You're an absolute disgrace to the human species, Gary. A disgrace. Let's finish this off.
Being dignified to interact with.
He definitely should.
I've been consistent on this. I have told other believers on Discord, okay, don't engage with Engstrom. Don't engage with Godless Girl. Don't engage with Sidney Winston. Don't engage with some of these very horrible atheists who commit public slander and defamation and engage in absolute internet stalking. Okay, and by the way, it's gone beyond that. I just haven't gone into detail. Okay?
Oh, really?
I've explained this to Otangelo. He ignores it and he goes on and he publicly interacts with Engstrom. Okay, he's doing the same thing with J.L. Warren. This is why I'm irritated with him.
It's true. He does
Boy, I tell you. Otangelo,
did you get that, Tom Rabbittt?
Yes, he did. Otangelo, you seem to be getting it from both sides. You're getting it from Darth and you're getting it from me. Now, you're going to have to take a stand, Otangelo. You're going to have to make up your mind where your which side of the bed you're going to lie on, Otangelo. Now, I've put out my challenge to you regarding Genesis 1, Genesis 1, in the original script. Let's talk about it. I have no problem. Any Christian who wants to come and take me up on that, let's do it. I'll bring it up again just to improve your memoire. All right, here it is. Okay, everybody, this is it. Bring in your best argument. This is the Hebrew Bible, Genesis 1. I want to discuss it in its original. I'm prepared. Are you? I've never met a Christian who yet can back up their claims to anything with actual backup. They can claim, they can plead, but they got nothing. So this is the challenge to you, Otangelo, to you, Gary, to you, Rand Campbell, to you, Gary Moore, to you, Jason Egroff, to you, Shannon Dornbush, to you, Velk, or Vekala, Velk, to all you nutcase Christians out there, I'm challenging each and every one of you to come in and take me up on my challenge on Genesis 1 in the original. I'm waiting for you. Right, so this was our presentation today. Now, what I haven't done yet is had a look at the chat room, the YouTube chat. Now, I think we're going to do that right now. What do you think? Okay, we need to find it first. Well, I think that that was a recording, and if we are going to look at the chat room, we might as well look at today's chat room. How y'all doing out there? Sorry, I've been sort of too busy to spend a lot of time with the chat room because, you know, behind the scenes, there's technical issues, there's scene switching, there's text placement. You know what I mean. Yeah, okay. I had a room specifically for that set up. Tell you what I'll do, I'll just throw it in this room. Or just forward it. Oh crap, hold on a second, I have to pop it out. Pop it out. Pop it out. Alright. He's popped out. Now I've just got to hit it. You know, with open source, there's always some little issue. Some little teeny issue. But there's always a workaround. That is a fact. All right, I think I'm there. I'm there in the abstract. There it is. I guess I'll make myself smaller for this, like that. And are you still with me? And I'll just get rid of that for now. And let's make the room a little bit more readable. And I'm going to slide it in from just from the very end here. Boo! How do you slide? Oh, here we go, slide. Okay, so let's see. How far up should I? Oh, Darth Dawkins Debunked is here. The website. Hey, how you doing? I'm watching your stuff. You're doing good work now. You're really improving your presentation. Congratulations. Bill Pastu is here. John Rapp. DB Cisco. Hey guys. Rebuke and reprove. Rebuke and reprove. Are you still here? I doubt it. He gets so enraged when the truth comes out. Afro-humanist. Hey, how are you? Let's see. Oh, it's just evening in the UK. Simon Person. That's a new name, isn't it? Welcome. I'm just scrolling up at this. God, how you doing? Welcome. God equals the square root of -1. Who else was here earlier? Henry. Hey, Henry. Henry's a cool guy. And Cryptomeria obviously was here in the very beginning because she had to go to work. I'm sorry, Cryptomeria. You can catch up with us later. This is for you. There we go. That's the whole gang. There you go. So, gang, do you want to have a conversation room opened so you can join in and have a chat? There are 14 people watching, so I can get 14 answers. Okay, so 1 for yes, 2 for no. Open up a chat room, a conversation room, so we can join in and discuss what we just saw. Yes, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, I'll just wait for the results to come in. And they will be live on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. The live results will be coming in, streaming in from all our centers all over the world. where one will be yes, open up a room, and two, so I'm waiting. I am on tenterhooks. I am waiting in suspense. Mm. Mm. Two ones. Two ones. Okay, there's your minute. It's up. Okay, the consensus seems to be 2 for opening up a chat room and 0 for do not even dare to open up a chat room, because if you do, I'll unsubscribe from your channel and I'll never watch anything again. But luckily we didn't get any of those. So I'm going to open up a channel. Okay? Carry on listening to this music. I'll be back. I'll post the link. Now remember, you go to you go to Chrome. If you're on Chrome, you go to your little workspace icon at the top right next to the bell, the square with all the squares inside it. You click on that. All the Chrome apps come up. One of them is called Google Meet. There's a box to enter a code. The code, it's called the Google Meet code. That is what I'm going to post in the chat that you're watching. Okay? I'll be right back. At least I'm leaving. I'm going to leave the chat up so that we can all watch. Okay. Bye. All right, so the Google Meet code, here it comes. Google Meet. Okay, hopefully you've all opened up your Google Meets. And the code, oh yeah, here it is. I'm going to pin it to the top. Come on in and let's have a chat. Google Meet. Here we go. So this is the screen, ladies. Oops. Sorry. Oh. Here we are. All right, so the room is open. And here is, if you can look at the bottom here, KQDYZKZFYH is the code. So 2 1s means at least 2 people should join, right? What do you think? Also, it's a good way to check if this is going to crash my system. John says, perhaps Gary would care to specify. Hold on. I've got to pick that up there somehow, huh? Yeah. Oh, crap. I'm waiting. Is anybody going to join? If anybody's having trouble, just let me know in the chat. But that's okay, because I'm struggling to make something make sense here myself. Hey, there's Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hey.
Hi. How goes?
Okay. Oops. I think I fucked it up.
No, I can hear you. Everything's good.
But I can't hear myself. I can close these other windows. Okay.
Yeah, you probably close your YouTube window that you're watching this on.
Well, I can hear you. I just don't hear myself through the speakers. But if you can hear my headphones, but I'm set to go. Let's tear it up. Let's tear Darth a new one.
Right. Yeah. What did you glean from what you saw?
Oh God, it's more than usual. There was kind of an older exchange with Otangelo. He was separated, but they have apparently reconciled just recently. So he's back.
That's the thing, but don't forget that. Hold on a second. It's bothering me here. I can't find the window that we're on. Oh, there we are. No, it's not.
Okay. I want to turn off my picture, my camera, and just have my showing a tile. Let's try that. No. How do you do it? I just want my icon. I don't want my ugly old face in here. Turn off camera. Hey, I'm comfortable.
You okay now?
Yeah, we're good. So Darth is on my bucket list. I know Warren said he's never going to have any more intercourse with this interlocutor again, but I got to do it at least once.
I don't blame him. There's no reason. He's a putz. Yeah. He's an absolute putz. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, he reminds me so much. I lived in a shelter years ago in the early '90s, and at night I would listen to Sean Hannity on the radio, and he'd go on with his shit, and someone would call in and just totally dismantle Sean Hannity, show what an inhumane, fool he was.
Yeah.
And he'd get pissed off and hang up on the guy, and then he'd spend the next 30 minutes hammering away just where he left off,
Mhm.
hammering away. And they always win. They always win as far as what he's doing. He's doing it all for his audience, his sycophants.
Yeah.
That's, he's not actually trying to develop any sort of a more accurate idea of what the world is. So what he's hoping for is that Trump will be elected, and they'll establish a new panel of inquisition, and
Yeah.
he'll be able to sit on the as a chief inquisitioner, and if people don't agree with him, he takes their property. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I'll meet you in the basement with the pendulum.
Yeah.
So.
Right, but that was the one that was older, the one that we watched that was older. That was pretty direct and to the point. You will never talk to these 4 or 5 atheists again. You will not talk to them. So I do not expect Otangelo to ever communicate in any way with me ever again.
Well, that too has passed. So they were snuggling up just a few days ago. There was a Tom Rabbittt.
Yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. I saw. Yeah, there was a Tom Rabbittt one.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. In that one, he said that he went into jail Warren, and essentially he told jail Warren to fuck off, and that's the end of that. He's back with Darth Dawkins. So don't forget, there's Sidney Winston, there's jail Warren, there's Jack Angstreich, and Godless Girl. There's 4 that I can think of off the top of my head that he said, that he mentioned.
Where do you hear Jack Angstreich? I've never actually. Is he doing any recent stuff?
Yes, yeah. Jack Angstreich, he's actually lost his mind. He went and he Canadian Catholic. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh God,
YouTube?
yes.
Yeah, well, him and Canadian Catholic seem to have gotten together and have open rooms together.
Power Alliance. I can't
when I saw that for the first time, I was shocked. What the fuck? Jack Angstreich and Canadian Catholic are like co-hosting rooms and shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But he won't come on here, but he'll go on Canadian Catholic.
Counterpoint.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But I can't find stuff on Discord. It's a maze. I try to find these things and track people, and it's just...
I stay away from Discord like I stay away from COVID.
Yeah, it's too complicated, man. But I like to follow T-Jump. I like to follow his stuff.
Yeah, he's very good.
But it's hard to find, and the same thing with you. It's hard to find you when you're actually live. I always see you've done something when it was, you're done with it. It was done 2 hours ago, and I want to. So I just have trouble doing that to keep in the loop. I was hoping some of the other people from the chat would show up.
Yeah, they might still. But why don't we let's read the chat if you want, because Rebuke and Reprove is in the chat, and he's always good fun for talking absolute shit.
Yeah. I'm always in there doing word puns and
yeah, I noticed that
things, but I can't see the chat right now. I can't see it, so it's up to you to pick out good ones.
No, it's gonna something just happened. Hold on a second. Look at that. Something weird.
John Rapp came up with. Actually, I do.
Hold on, let's stop that. That's weird. Oh.
You see, I've got a Fire Stick, so I watch the actual image on Fire Stick, but I do the pop-out chat on my desktop in front of me.
Okay, Simon Person wants to know, how do I do it? How do you do what, Simon? Oh, hey, Rebuke and Reprove? He's in there too. He says, afraid to debate. Well, that's okay if you're afraid to debate. Why would you advertise that you're afraid to debate if you're a Christian? That's what rebuke and reprove. First sentence, afraid to debate. Well, fine. Sorry. I probably don't even have to read the rest of it. It's probably an excuse of why he's afraid to debate. But let's read the rest of it anyway. Afraid to debate. Ask Sydney what happens when I come into his room. He gives up. He cannot win. We have already won the debate, which is why you had to create cancel culture liberal.
Okay, have you backed up in the chat to an earlier time?
No, it's right at the very bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever's on the screen, whatever on the YouTube screen, if you're watching the YouTube screen with mute on your YouTube.
Yeah.
It's there. Actually, I could share it in here, but it'll just. I'm saving resources because my computer. I don't want my computer to just shut down on me again.
Okay, my last thing is Simon Person saying join. Oh, here's some. Did I miss the point, Simon Person? That's the last post.
That's what I don't understand. Oh, join. How to join? Okay,
Yeah.
open up your Google Meet app in Google Chrome. Let's see, it's in the app in the square with squares inside it. Looks like a big square with black squares. That's your little menu for all your Google apps. Click on that and down will come all your Google apps. Scroll till you find Google Meet. Click on Google Meet. It will open and one field will be enter code or link or something like that, but it'll enter code for sure. You click on the code, you copy paste the code that's at the top of this chat room. It is KQDYXKZFYH in case. There you go. Thank you. And then you just enter that into the field, click join, and voila.
Now, to be helpful, I did that, clicked on my app square, and Google Meet wasn't in there.
That's right.
So
maybe you have to add it through the Google Play Store.
I tried. Well, I went to. I opened another tab and I just searched Chrome for Google Meet, and it gave me a hit that had. It took me to the login page.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that worked out.
That's even better. It's not better. It's just another way to get in.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe that's what I should suggest instead of opening up a tab. Just search Google Meet. I don't know. Okay, so now rebuke and reprove. Oh, sorry, Henry Hansen. Rebuke and reprove. DD avoids defending his beliefs. It's a precept thing. They just want to make an unsophisticated atheist look stupid. It's a rude tactic. I agree.
He has followers that have similar issues with half-thought process. So he's instilled enough into them that they just agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just does it for the sake of them so they can move on with their rank and file to the delusion they're trying to put forth. But I don't know why he does it. He's not making money.
No, he can't help it. He is a malignant narcissist who needs to feed the narcissism by controlling and abusing and humiliating and just being Gestapo Gary. You know, listen to how he screams in a debate. Everybody else is talking normally, and his decibel level is 100 times more than everybody else.
But he says he's just reproving people, that Jesus reproved people. Moses reproved the pharaohs.
What does reprove mean?
It means to admonish.
For what?
For their errancy.
Okay, let's say I get reproved and rebuked for my inerrancy or for my whatever the fuck deserves a rebuke or a reprove. So you know what I would say? Okay, so next.
There's a book called The Art of Yes, and I don't think Darth has read it.
I don't know if Darth can read. You know, he knows how to watch videos.
Actually, God has revealed to him only a lexicon that he agrees with.
Well, I want to talk about how J.L. Warren just stripped that man apart naked.
He's got too high expectations of who Darth is.
No, he knows exactly who Darth is. He had I saw the interaction between Darth and J.L. Warren.
I should say he had. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't any longer.
Yeah.
Well, that's also this occurs to me. A lot of these atheists call in and talk to him, and they always fall victim to the same overheating. He starts saying this stuff, and they start. What's his name? Skyler was on there. Some Skyler guy.
Skyler Fiction. Yeah.
He was on there doing just fine. And then Darth pulls his thing, and they start to react in kind, and they get insulted and frustrated, and they just fall right into his trap. And he just calmly bangs that hammer.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And so he can run. He runs if it's going to be difficult.
Absolutely.
But I'll get him.
Absolutely. He's a coward. He's an absolute coward. That's why, you know how cowards are. They bully those that are weak, but as soon as somebody comes and stands up to them, they run away.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Darth Dawkins is. He's a bully.
This is true. Yeah.
Oh, Rebuke and Reprove mentioned Pine Creek. That is so. Did you ever watch that when Darth Dawkins called into Pine Creek, and Pine Creek wanted to talk to him about Jesus? You know, did Jesus walk on water? And Darth, he heard these questions about Jesus, and he ran away like a scared little child, whimpering and running straight for his mummy's skirt.
Yeah, there was a guy, I think he's a friendly atheist. His very first podcast, Darth called him.
Hemmett, mate. I'm going to start reacting or replaying a lot of his. But anyway, sorry, can I make a point?
No, I was not going to make a point. I just...
you said there was an atheist thing...
friendly atheist.
Friendly atheist, yeah.
And Darth called in on his very first podcast, and this guy was all set to have his first, conversation and friendly exchange with theists and this and that.
I want to get hold of that.
And yeah, Darth pulled his shtick on him, and I think it went for about a half an hour, and then of course collapsed under its own weight.
Oh, I'd love to do a reaction to that one.
Yeah, check it out. It's interesting. I think it's a year, maybe a little less than a year old.
Oh, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I've listened to Darth for probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Not only have I listened to him, I've spoken to him. In the very beginning, we spoke quite a bit. But he lost his marbles.
Well, I'm about 2 years into listening to this stuff. I just discovered atheist sites. Matt Dillahunty was the first one I ran across.
Yeah.
Actually, I was watching old Hitchens stuff because I loved Hitchens and hadn't watched for a while, so I got some hits on YouTube, and then I caught the Matt Dillahunty, and I really appreciated him. Mm-hmm. And then I'm checking out the other ones. It eventually led to Sidney Winston, Sir Sidney Winston.
Where does that "sir" come from?
It just sounds like he would be a Sir Sidney Winston.
Wow, you know what? I don't see any issue with that.
Yeah.
Tell that to the Queen.
I usually ask first. I asked if I could call you Sid, and you said okay. So I'm taking liberties now.
No, I like it, Sir Sidney Winston.
Yeah,
I love it. That's what my very first wife called me. And I asked her why the same thing. She said it just sounds right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kismet with us.
Well, it seems like kismet is very, very, very frugal with who it shares its kismet with.
How could it be Sydney. How could it be that through all the variants of the internet and the websites and all the different things that I should come to under your mentorship? I admit it. You're a mentor.
How
But
am
for
I
us,
a mentor?
I
Explain.
just the detailed, exhaustive presentations you have on all the biblical stuff, all that stuff. Am I supposed to read that while you're talking about it? Because it's voluminous. It's voluminous.
Voluminous.
And I don't believe in the Bible in the first place. So, but you have exhaustingly, painstakingly, resiliently presented this, and there has to be something to learn from somebody like that who does something like that.
Thank you
So
very
I'm hanging
much.
in there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm hanging in.
I'm much
Boom.
appreciative. There's Bill. Simon, sorry. There's Simon.
Right.
Not
There
only
he
is
is.
it
Simon.
Simon, but it's Simon in person.
Simon first.
Hello.
Hey. I'm my camera's off because I'm saving resources. I've got an old system and
Okay.
it tends to crash if I do fancy things.
I think if I turn my camera off, how do I do that? Let's turn my camera off.
There you go.
There's an icon on the
I got
bottom.
you. Got it. There's my pretty face.
Oh, look, you're smiling for the camera. That's very sweet.
I turned my camera off because I'm in the bathroom smoking.
Why do you have to smoke in the bathroom?
Because I live in a Section 8 subsidized housing.
Mean? What's that mean?
It means it's under HUD regulations, and there's they stopped smoking in 2019. You can be evicted for smoking.
Inside your apartment?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
It's a bit
well,
unfortunate.
let me say one thing. You've just made a fantastic argument for owning your own apartment.
I'm gonna dox myself. I'm gonna get real personal. I pay for a 1-bedroom central air conditioned apartment $162 a month.
I pay for a 1-bedroom apartment in probably one of the best locations in the city that I live in. I pay $275 a month.
Well done, sir. But that's not typical for most people.
Well, as you can tell, most people don't run live streams, and that's not typical for most people either.
Yeah. Well, if I was to get evicted for smoking in my apartment, I would be shopping in a market that 1-bedrooms are like $800 a month.
That's right. That's right. You know what 1-bedrooms go for here? If you rent where I live?
What?
Probably $1,800 a month.
Bingo. And there's a 2-year waiting list right now for these places. It's locally here. Yeah, I make do with what I say. I do the best I can with what God gave me, even though what God gave me isn't enough to do it right.
No, it's not what God gave you. It's what you took advantage of what you were presented with in life. Most people have good intentions, but don't follow through.
That's a nice way of looking at it.
Once you get past survival, yes, I believe that. I think, but good intentions is a luxury. Survival or using cocaine brings you way down to the bottom level.
Oh no, you weren't there, were you?
Fuck yes.
Oh,
I had
fuck.
3 times. 3 empires crashed and burned behind chemical dependence.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Bill. You see what I mean?
I've been good.
That's
I've
what
been
God.
good.
That's you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all you.
Yeah.
It's all me.
Yeah.
It's all everybody. It's their own decisions.
They sent me to 12-step programs. The courts.
Yeah.
And I finally found a secular organization for sobriety, discovered rational emotive therapy, and I didn't have to deal with higher powers. And I've been good since 2004.
Okay, I have a question for you that might maybe it'll be interesting for the Christians as well. As an atheist, were you an atheist when you got involved with cocaine?
Yep.
Now, how does an atheist get involved with cocaine, considering atheists are supposed to be rational beings?
Well, we're just beings, rational.
Because it's fun.
I got involved because I opened a recording studio in 1980.
Yeah. Yep. I know, but most people who get into the cocaine addiction recover to become, Christians or see the light in some spiritual way.
Well, yeah, the programs pick on vulnerable people, and they just transfer the addiction. It's actually an appetite disorder.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that there's no difference whether you're an atheist or a Christian or a whatever in terms of becoming addicted to cocaine.
Of course not.
So then why do these people who are addicted to cocaine and either recover or try and recover, why do they say, I found Jesus and I'm now not a cocaine addict? Because you are no longer a cocaine addict, I'm assuming. And I'm also saying that you're still an atheist.
Yeah, I just don't see the correlation. People do. Some people lie, some tell the truth, but most people do what they just want to do. So there's social pressures and just your nature and your nurture. So my nature was healthy, but my nurture, when I got into the music business, was toxic.
I think perhaps also it's a question of dispersonalizing your addiction problem onto something else rather than making it internalizing it and then fearing failure. If it goes wrong, then you don't have to blame yourself. You can blame the higher power.
Talking of an addiction, and considering that we're on this Darth Dawkins subject, do you think Darth Dawkins is? Do you think his malignant narcissism is an addiction?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, it's evident that he does it for. I mean, you said he was a narcissist, and I think that's exactly it. But I think he's beyond narcissistic, because I don't think it's necessarily about protecting his ego from harm in a classical narcissistic sense. I think it's become having his ego absolutely fanned and applauded. Right. And he's addicted to the power. It's the power trip.
Sure. Well, I was taught about addiction that it's behaviors that ultimately are harmful to you. Behaviors you persist in, even though it's ultimately harmful to you. Yeah. And I don't know, but what kind of harm Darth Dawkins is suffering by being who he is.
Well, he's alienating his entire family, and that's the harm.
Okay, if that's an important value, but he's adored. He's got a substitute family. He's adored by millions. He's adored. They love him.
I think that's what's confusing for me. I think we can pick apart Darth Dawkins' personality until the cows come home, and I think it's obvious that he's a borderline sociopath. But
that's what he does.
Yeah, which is highly entertaining, which is why I was quite excited to get to talk to you.
There you go.
But what do his acolytes derive? That's a really interesting question. You listen to it. I mean, I can't really stand listening to him for more than a few minutes before I feel nauseated by his horrible voice. I mean, I'm a musician, and it is sonically really unpleasant to listen to for any great length of time. But what do they derive from it? What do they get? Is it like a sadomasochistic relationship that they have with him, like 50 Shades of Gary or something?
It's a good question.
They idolize. Yeah, well, how many people walk around dressed up like John Lennon or Jerry Garcia? You find somebody you idolize and admire, and you imitate them. If you like cowboys, you walk around in full costume out here with boots and a hat. You listen to these guys on their own, though, and you understand they don't have it down like Darth does. But they always are there. It always reminds me of the Jabba the Hutt, and there's those little creatures that live in the fold of his fat. And so when he gurgles something or does something, kills somebody, they poke their little heads out and look around and go, and they're nodding up and down like yes.
And that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just Darth the Hutt.
Maybe it's also a question of maybe they feel that if they study him and they're like sort of quasi disciples, they'll learn his patter, like the con man's patter, and then in turn they'll be able to deploy it to some other unsuspecting greenhorn atheist debater, and then get to feel the same power buzz that that Gary does. Maybe that's another motivator.
How long do you think Gary will last? I mean,
he's been. You said 5 years you've been listening to him.
Oh no, way longer than that.
Hmm.
But before he used to interact with adults.
Hmm.
He's down right now to interacting with teenagers on Discord.
Oh my God,
that's it.
That's pathetic.
Listen to
That's
all
pathetic.
the people that he listen to most of the people that call in and that he derides. They're all young people, either teenagers or just out, young students, whatever.
I perceive an element of educational insufficiency in a lot of them.
Or just naivety. I think people are.
Yeah. Their parents aren't around, so you get to go on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, the inculcation of religion does a lot of the work for them. That's the whole pernicious consistency of religion, is that the inculcation, the whole bubble that the child is raised in, where everywhere he turns, he's being fed this stuff, and it forms the worldview.
Yep.
So it's about, you got to get that critical thinking and challenge that stuff when they attain the age of being able to process these things mentally. So he's kind of like a pedophile. Hitler said, "Get the youth first," So.
Well, you know what? The Christians, in fact, all the Christians, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Jews, the Muslims, they all get their the children from as young as possible and indoctrinate them with the myth of Allah, God, Jesus, whatever, and all through their lives, through the early lives. By the time they hit the teens, they are indoctrinated and they're little robots.
Which is what happened to them when they were brought up. This is people bringing up their own it's their own cultures. People establish their own cultures.
Somebody in the chat mentioned Psi 10 Bruggencate. He's a Psi 10 Bruggencate. I mean, what happened to Psi 10? I haven't seen him on the internet for quite a while. Maybe I'm just not looking for him.
Doesn't ring a bell with me. I don't know who you're talking about.
Psi 10 Bruggencate was a sort of like is a proto Darth Dawkins, a lot more sort of sympathetic character, even though he's also equally
he's the
despicable.
Canadian. He's the Canadian Darth Dawkins.
Oh, Mr. Batman.
No. Psi 10 Bruggencate. That's his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Batman. We can talk about in a while.
bizarre name. But he seems to have fizzled out. And Darth Dawkins, I think his longevity you can ascribe to just the sort of the nuclear option he goes to all the time. I think Psi 10 never really did the whole sort of horrific manic episodes that the clickbait stuff.
He never lost his cool.
No,
not that I can remember.
We never had it. The first
he was always a drone and boring.
Yes.
Well, can I Google him for briefly for clips?
Yeah, sure. Okay. He's done some good
if you can
debates.
spell it. but yeah. I'll spell Bruggencate for you. It's BRUGGEN. I think KATE or CATE.
That's got it. Where does that name come from?
It's Dutch.
Bruggencate. It's got to be, hasn't it, with a double G like
it's
that?
10 Bruggencate, which is like, like De Villiers or Duplessis or Von Schmeichel or whatever, right?
It's a couple, Brugg and Kate. So it's Kate and Allie. So
It's probably BRUGG.
Yeah.
EN. It'll probably bring it up there in the.
Yes, is it bridge? You just say.
I think it probably means because 10 means from, and Bruggencate means from Bruggencate, which is the city. Maybe it's a city with a bridge, or who knows what.
So is there is there a 10 in his name?
Yeah.
Where?
Okay, type in this. SYE is his first name. It's Psi. And the next word is 10, as in the number 10.
Okay.
And then the next word is BRUG. Let's stop there and see what comes up. There you go. Good.
Yes, the one and only.
I'm sorry, but SYE.
Yeah.
My auto spell changed it, so okay. I got to note notepad here. Okay, Brooke and Kate, side 10. Okay, got it.
DB Cisco in the chat says that Side 10 isn't as rude as Darth Dawkins. That's probably that's
Exactly.
true.
That sums it up.
Yeah.
But that's why Brooke and Kate, we're not doing reaction to Brooke and Kate. We're doing
No.
reaction. Reaction to
There's nothing to react to with Brooke and Kate.
The other psychopath.
He's reactive. Well, Darth is a known quantity at this point. So Mr. Batman was a surprise, if you want to get to him.
Oh, well, I've done a lot of Mr. Batman, and I have an actual challenge. Mr. Batman challenged me to a debate, and I accepted the debate, saying that if we're going to debate, let's debate Genesis 1:1 in its original language. And he's run away since then. He actually he started to block me on Facebook because we were friends on Facebook. I can't even find him on Facebook anymore.
And by the original language, I suppose you mean English, right?
No.
Mr. Batman. Well, good sir, I never debate people. I accept to debate.
Yeah.
It's my Mr. Batman imitation.
Oh,
well,
good.
sir.
Oh, we have a new guest. Hey, Tyler.
Jeez, guy's emptying his wallet.
Yep. No, he's becoming a patron. You can hear.
Oh,
there you
putting
go.
his headphones on.
Yeah, his headphones are on. Audio's on. Unmuted. Good to go.
Sydney, how do you know how they found out what Gary's name? What's the story behind that?
I think Godless Girl. No, I can't remember. No, you know who told me about Gary? Was somebody who's not on the internet anymore. At least not in my circles.
I just Googled Darth Dawkins' real name, and it got a hit.
Gary Milne, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But I want to get images of him. I got one image someone sent on another
There is
chat.
only one.
It's like bubbles. It's bubbly. There was a fake one that they scammed. Like he accidentally had his camera on, but that was not the real thing.
Yeah.
But there's got to be images. Come on, doxers, get out there and find some old traffic driver's license record or something. Give me something. Yeah,
that's a bit of an ethical grey area, that one.
Oh, I wouldn't use it. I just want to know myself. For private use only.
So you can throw darts at it.
It's a quasi-doxing.
Somebody said, I heard a comment a while ago, I think I was reading it in a comment section. It may even have been you, Sydney, that he can't...
You drop your typewriter?
I think his shed doors just slam shut. He can't have ever converted anybody to his position. Not one.
Well,
that was an interesting...
No. I mentioned these little kids. Remember the kids on Discord right now that's all he deals with.
Yeah.
Because he's down. That's the bottom of the barrel basically for him.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the people that are vulnerable and gullible and naive enough to and also because of his authoritarian nature.
But do you think he's ever made anybody a Christian, an atheist? Has he ever turned anybody
an atheist into a Christian? No.
Yeah. No.
No, it's impossible to make an atheist into a Christian. An atheist knows that there's no possibility that a God can exist. So you can't go from that certainty to denying that certainty.
I don't think that's his motive is to convert.
No. But that's the veneer, isn't it? Why do we need a picture of DD to laugh at him, obviously, and defeat his argument instead of fixing you cowards?
I don't think he needs to be laughed at. He just needs to be critiqued.
Well, yes, exactly. But satire is a form of criticism, right?
Absolutely.
I'm a coward. Yeah, all right. I'm a coward. I don't care.
Tyler.
I like to have a mental image of a face when I'm talking. I have one for I know what Sydney looks like, but you, Simon, I'm forming a mental image.
That is me.
He came on with his camera.
Yeah, I can turn my camera back on if you want to see what I actually look like.
I'm still in the bathroom smoking.
You go, there's Tyler. As a handsome fellow.
Probably. How do I? I've never used this before. How do I turn on my speaker?
You're on. We can hear you.
Yeah. We can
Well, I
hear
mean,
you.
I'm talking through my phone, but my camera, it's no use putting my camera on if I have to hold it to my ear.
Right. Don't worry about your camera.
No, we
Okay.
don't need your camera.
Yeah, we don't.
We just got a nice letter T.
There
All
we
right.
go. Okay, you good?
Yeah.
All right.
If you use speakerphone though, you'll get a lot of background noise.
No, he said he's holding it to his ear, so he's on regular.
Yeah, it sounds okay.
Well, welcome, Tyler.
Yeah.
Where
thank you.
Where about on the flat Earth are you?
Kentucky.
Okay.
I'm with Mr. Batman over here. So.
Okay, you're Mr. Batman's bodyguard, aren't you?
Yeah.
You watch the cave for him while he's gone.
Do you follow Mr. Batman a lot? Do you know his whole story?
I've seen him. I can only stand like maybe 5 minutes at a time.
I sympathize.
And then I have to.
I get it. I understand that.
He's another one who's big about educating the children
with Jesus.
Yeah.
Aren't they always?
Boy, he's also got a good gig going. His job is to he's with the I think the Indiana school system.
Yeah.
And his job is when a teacher calls in sick and there's no substitute teacher to replace that teacher, his job is to sit in the classroom and make sure that there's somebody, there's an adult sitting in the seat of the teacher's seat. So he's got a whole class of kids to talk to for a day probably, because the teacher's gone, and start doing his kiddie indoctrination.
He sounds like a character on South Park. I forget which one, but Mr. Ham. The one with Mr. Ham, the puppet.
Mr. Garrison.
That's the guy.
I haven't really watched much of that.
It's funny.
Oh, it's great.
Hey, secular pagan mom, how you doing?
But he doesn't know anything about science. Well, when he talks about the second law of thermodynamics, he always talks about disorder. And disorder has no use in science. You can't quantify it. There are no units of disorder. So
they harp too much on that disorder nonsense.
Yeah.
Rebuke and reprove is getting very angsty in the comments there about slavery.
Biblical slavery doesn't exist. I think he said to me, he's the one who said to me, in and of itself, owning a human is not a problem. It's not illegal. Actually, no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. Sorry, that was Gary Moore. That was G-Man. He's known as G-Man.
Right, Gary Moore. Not the Gary, the late great Gary Moore.
So is that you, Simon? Is that icon that you? The one you're using right now, the photo.
Yeah, that's me. That is me. Yeah.
It could have been Walter White.
Pulling a slight face. Pulling a slight face. I do look like that.
A slight face. I can do that. I'm going back.
Yeah. It's immaterial what slavery is in or is not in the Bible. It's just who gives a shit what it says. Doesn't matter.
Well, the Old Testament has slavery.
Sure, it does.
We expect that. But when it comes to the New Testament, we absolutely do not expect slavery to be endorsed. However, in the New Testament, slavery is endorsed.
Yeah. Well, I suppose my point being, even if it said, eating dinosaur meat was endorsed in the New Testament, or or paint your toenails, who cares?
If slavery is endorsed and that's oppressive, then oppressiveness is endorsed.
Yeah, sure, but the debating of it in the 21st century, I don't know. I'm being unnecessarily sort of facile about the content.
Yeah. I don't pay much attention to the Bible because none of the authors knew anything about neurotransmitters. I don't dive into that. Mr. Tyler, you're making a racket.
Sorry,
Mr. Tyler, we want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, make that kind of racket.
What went wrong in Kentucky?
Say what?
What went wrong in Kentucky?
Well, I don't care about Kentucky. I want to hear your thoughts on what did you watch today, or did you not watch anything?
Let's see. Today was I think Tom Rabbittt was on with Darth Dawkins, arguing with who was it?
It's always somebody new every day.
Yeah. He was arguing with somebody. Can't think of their name right now, but basically he did the usual shtick. He cut him off, wouldn't let him speak, and then runs. But the thing, one thing about the DD argument is that nobody ever gets to the point where they can confront his views, and he makes sure of that. So I think it's a complete waste to try to talk with him in his room, because he'll just mute you. He will run away. Because I think that his very definition of God, and then his premise that the Bible is inerrant and true, the infallible word of God. See, I like that, because that can be tested. We could put that to the test. His vague deistic definition that he likes to use, what are you going to do with that? But if we say that the Bible is inerrant and true, then God exists, or the God of the Bible exists. If P, then Q. But then we can look at it and say, if not P, then not Q. And then we look at, just Genesis, the first chapter. And, we're looking at a 6-day creation, talking snake,
dragons.
The implications of a 6,000 to 7,000 year old universe. Simple starlight will disprove that. But, but if you say, well, the starlight, then he goes, well, they have to measure it. It can't be measured one way, because you cannot synchronize two clocks that precisely. So it has to go, bounce off a mirror, or come back, or however it is that they're testing it. You have to use a single clock, and he uses that to say, well, therefore, the speed of light could have. You don't really know the speed of light. In theory, it could be going twice as fast on the way out, and then half. It loses, speed or velocity. On the way back, or I don't know, it's some type of argument of that sort, which doesn't make sense, because C, the constant, is for everything: microwaves, gamma rays, radio waves, not just light. And if you mess with C, C is contingent upon the electric constant and the magnetic constant. If you change the value for C, you change the value for both of those. Basically, you create a universe that is unlivable. If you change it enough to get starlight from the visible edge to the Earth in 6,000 years, you're talking about increasing the velocity of C by 2.3 million, something like that. So, your mass equals mc squared, E equals mc squared, mass equals E divided by c squared. So what are you going to do for the value of mass if you change the value of C by 2.3 million? It's just a ridiculous
and who would be
argument.
Who would actually be changing that?
Darth Dawkins, of course.
Darth Dawkins, yes.
I go by the axiom, no matter what the origins of time and light were, it's safe to assume things turn out exactly the way they are.
Exactly.
So here we are.
I did
So
notice that.
Yeah, sorry, one
Go
last. So do you have, Tyler, do you have any conclusions on the efficacy of what the Bible provides us?
Does it provide any efficacy at
Well,
all?
your conclusions on what worth it has, as far as say explaining existence.
On existence, no. Perhaps, there's maybe some wisdom in there that somebody, but nothing you won't find in other writings by humans. It's. I mean, if the Bible, they claim that it was written by God, but it has all the earmarks of being written by humans.
I call that the hairy handprint of mankind smudging the perfect words of God. It's just smear.
Yeah.
It's all smearage.
Which, in this argument that, God is, what does he do? He controls, or he how does Darth put it? That he
Instantiates,
imposes the laws of nature and the laws of logic. And it's
all
like, okay,
all possibilities and impossibilities.
yes. And it's like, okay, what is, the laws of logic, the law of identity, what does that tell you about turning water into wine?
A burning bush that is not being consumed.
Yes. The law of gravity and centrifugal force, what does that tell us about stopping the earth all of a sudden, to keep the sun in the sky? So
it tells us that all God-based religions are snake pits of weasel wordmanship.
Yeah. Well, what it tells us is that God, imposes the laws of nature and the laws of logic, except when he doesn't.
Which seems somewhat capricious, does it not?
Yes.
Random. For an orderly being to be random doesn't make sense either.
It destroys the presupposed argument.
Here comes Frank White, and I don't believe any of us will get an opportunity to speak again. Welcome, Frank.
Frank is sincere and pure.
You can call me Jill.
No,
Frank and White.
It says Frank. You can call you Jill.
Yeah.
I don't
only have about 15 minutes.
I don't care who you are on Saturday night. Today, you're Frank.
Frank White was a notorious drug kingpin in New York City, Harlem, back in the 70s.
Cool.
Yeah, I only have a few minutes. I was just wondering if anyone here wants to accept my debate challenge.
About what?
Biblical slavery.
It doesn't exist.
No thanks.
Doesn't exist?
Well, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Do you agree? Okay, we're in agreement then.
I don't
Is
care.
that like Jesse Lee Peterson saying that slavery in America wasn't racist because black people owned slaves?
No, I'm not familiar with Jesse Lee Peterson's argument in that respect.
Yeah. No one's ever asked him how many of those black slave owners owned white slaves, but someday maybe I'll get a chance to ask him that one.
Jesse Lee Peterson's a waste of time.
Amazing.
Jesse Lee Peterson owns the liberal, that's for sure.
Amazing.
Owns them.
Owns them like a slave.
Crying home
Like
to
a
their
slave,
mamas.
yes.
They're like slaves.
And what I hate about Jesse is
So
this,
what authority does Jesse Lee Peterson carry?
He's a man. He has the authority given to him by God.
And YouTube followership.
Oh yeah, he's got a large following on YouTube.
Yeah, he's a man.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter how big his following is. He's a man.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
No, what he's
That
trying to
means
say.
he's given the authority.
What he's trying to say, he's a man.
God.
He's a man
Right.
who admits that women are inferior to men.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, that doesn't come from the scriptures.
That's
but
Jesse Lee
what he-
Peterson.
Yeah.
Well, if
That's
that's
what
what he
it-
believes, that doesn't come from the scriptures. But
Well, then he's a douchebag.
Yeah, so he's not getting that from the scriptures, but
Well, all right. Doesn't
but
matter.
other than that, the way he handles the liberal, I gotta admire.
Handles the liberal.
What's his
Yeah.
biggest liberal gotcha? Just what's
Exposes them for the cowards and the frauds and the intellectually dishonest beta males that they are.
in a singular meme? Give me a
What the
meme.
fuck does that mean?
That's his best gotcha. His best meme.
You can go to his website and check out all of his
No, he's not.
one-on-one conversations.
Not getting
Yeah,
my
but
click.
you
Most
can't
of them
cite
are
you
against
can't
liberals.
cite a single meme that he has coined that is a gotcha for all these reprobate liberals.
Well, it's not a gotcha. He actually sits down and has conversations with them. They never come back, of course. Same thing with me. You never come back after you get destroyed and everything you believe turns out to be false. You wind up going to someone else's channel, like Sydney's channel, to reinforce the lie.
I think
And you never
Professor
come back
Dave took
again.
him to pieces, right? I mean, I remember that video.
What's the lie again?
Everything you believe to be true.
It is a
Oh,
lie.
wow.
I'm not. I believe I'm not your God. Is that a lie?
Can't falsify that.
You believe you are God. If you don't believe in the God of the Bible, you believe in
No,
another God.
I'm not your God. I believe that.
But I'm working on the problem.
Why
I'm
do you
not
believe
God,
that?
but I'm working on it.
Why do you believe you're not my God?
I don't know. I believe it. Doesn't matter why I believe it or don't believe
By
it.
faith?
Who
Blind
cares?
faith?
It doesn't
By
matter.
blind faith. Okay.
By what mechanism? Doesn't matter.
What a lame presentation.
Believe it.
Of course. You want to be hyper literal now.
No, I don't.
All of a sudden.
I can
But
prove.
what I mean is your ideology, what you believe about certain things in the world, whether it be abortion, whether it be he deals with the political hot topics, of course, whether it be gay marriage, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, not gay marriage.
Yeah.
What's he say
Which
about
is an
that?
oxymoron.
And he
Is
goes
it?
for he does that through scriptural. He bases on scripture, right? His
No,
judgments.
based on science.
For instance, I mean, for God's sake, give me an
You're a
example.
fruitcake. Yeah.
Science.
Science.
Give me
That's
an
not an example. That's a
example of what
word.
you're talking
Biology,
about.
physiology.
They're just words. They're not examples.
Biology, physiology condemn the act of sodomy. So God is not capricious.
How
in
so? It's present everywhere in nature.
It's like
being present in nature doesn't mean that it's natural according to the
I
definition
feel
of the
so
word natural.
owned. You've owned the lib.
Excuse me?
The word natural has two definitions.
Who was talking about natural?
When
I said
you said it's found in nature, right?
Yes, it's found in nature.
That means it's natural, right?
Well, if you want to characterize it that way,
that's the definition of natural.
As opposed to abhorrent.
That's the definition of natural, to be found in nature. Many things are found in nature, right? That are not natural for
All
human
things
beings.
in the universe are nature. All
Yes.
things.
Nature is a description of the way things are.
So we
That's all
have
nature
things
is.
in nature, right? But they don't constitute or relate to our anatomy, but they are natural for other animals. They do
like when
occur in other
two male dogs hump each other.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because something occurs in nature doesn't mean that that it's natural for a human being to do it.
Right. This is true.
Right. So a scientist or a doctor would never consider the act of eating rocks to be natural for humans, but it is found in nature.
Isn't salt kind of a rock?
Birds eat rocks.
They help them grind the
Birds
food.
don't eat rocks.
Right,
they don't eat
right,
them.
exactly,
They're tools. They're not,
Sydney,
they're not
where's this guy
Salt dissolved.
Sydney, where's he going?
I think he's
If it didn't dissolve, you'd have a problem.
he's just listening.
No, I'm around. I'm listening.
Where's Frank going with all this?
A cul-de-sac of
Well,
his own
it's
making.
like the scripture says, it's an unnatural act. It's an unnatural
I have a question for you. Frank.
The scriptures, science, again.
Frank, Frank, I have a question for you from the audience, from the chat room.
Yeah.
Could you explain? I have a question for you, Frank. What is it that is ultimate, absolute, and unconditionally non-dependent that provides for all dependent states?
Brilliant.
That sounds like God to me.
Thank you, John Rapp.
That sounds like God to me, but I'm not a presuppositionalist, so you have to contact Darth. if you want an exposition on that.
That wasn't
axiom.
that wasn't a question from Darth. That was a question from John Rabb.
You didn't hear me. I said you'll have to go speak to Darth if you want an exposition
Darth is
on
scared
that, or expounding. Or you want me to expound? Or you want someone to expound on that answer? You'd have to go to Darth. I'm not a presuppositionalist.
Darth is not as brave as you. He won't talk to me.
Well, if you're not a presuppositionist, you would not accept some of those elements of the statement. Could you cite which ones?
False. I accept it, but I'm not the one to go to have that type of conversation.
Okay, well, if you're not a presuppositionist,
you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. I understand.
Let me ask you.
Yeah, I'm an evidentialist. Talk to me about the evidence.
All right.
I just provided the evidence that the Bible is not capricious and it's banning of same-sex proclivities.
What is the evidence?
Right?
What is the evidence? What is the evidence for the resurrection?
The evidence for the resurrection is, I think it's historical.
You think it's historical? You think? Hold on. You think it's historical? There's never such a statement ever made truthfully in the whole world in history. You'd think it's historical without historical evidence, but you think it's historical.
Yeah, it is historical. Yeah.
Come on then.
I was using think there parenthetically, but yeah, it is historical.
You think, therefore, you're not.
Let me give you my description.
It is written in history.
Let me give you my description of the Bible and tell me if it's accurate or not. Okay, the Bible is an agenda in order to establish an ultimate authority to control the thinking, values, and behaviors of its membership.
I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not the book of. That's not the God that I worship.
Is it an accurate description of what the Bible is?
No.
Even if it is the Word of God, it's an agenda. God has no agenda.
God has an agenda to teach us what is.
I didn't ask.
I
didn't ask what the agenda was. No, you did. You answered. You said yes. He has an agenda. Whatever that is.
His agenda is to teach us what is profitable, what will make us prosper and survive on this planet.
Right, and to do that,
that's his agenda.
Right. So this is an agenda,
right, which is why
to establish his ultimate authority.
Are banned. What's the average lifespan of a homosexual? 40 years. Yeah. So God is not capricious in his banning of the behavior.
What? You know, the average lifespan of a house cat is 3 times as much as an outdoor cat.
Oh, okay. So God's goal is, because he loves us.
You let your cat out, he gets 3 years. He gets 3 years, and then he's gone.
Oh, poor cat.
So God
doesn't care about cats. God only cares about humans.
What?
So God has placed us in this planet, and he places parameters around our lives so that our lives may be complete and we may thrive and exist for as long as we can exist. He doesn't want us dying at 40 of AIDS. I'll see you guys next time.
And he provides us the Bible that establishes him as an ultimate authority to instruct, to control the values, thinkings, and behaviors of the membership. He's gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he's done.
That was good.
That was stupid.
What a wanker.
Can you believe that? Hello,
enjoyed that.
Hello, Viral on Web. How are you today? My friend from...
hey, I'm good.
My friend from another continent.
What about you guys? You guys are good?
Yeah, we're fantastic.
Very well, thank you.
Listen to this. I was talking to Viral on the Web last night, or early this morning, and I learned this, that in Pakistan, if you want to buy gas and you're not vaccinated, your permission to buy gas will be denied.
They should just charge twice as much.
No, they are not allowed. If they do this, government will seize their petrol pumps.
Wow. Okay, Simon. Come
See you,
back anytime.
Simon.
Come back anytime.
And wipe that smile off your face.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Yeah, you hit the hang up button.
Thank you very much. That was fun.
Is it live streaming?
Yeah, here we go.
Waiting for your next words.
We now switch to our correspondent in Gujarat in Pakistan. What did I get? What did I get? This? Did I get the town wrong again?
What is the Raja Bagaraj?
Where you live?
I'm in Punjab, Lahore.
Lahore. Okay, sorry.
So what went wrong in Lahore?
What will what? Sorry,
What
I
went
didn't get
wrong? What went wrong in Lahore?
you. Nothing is wrong. Everything is good.
Do you know
All
what?
good.
Do you know what Lahore stands for? It's French for the prostitute.
Okay, that's new to me.
When was Pakistan French?
That's
I
a good
mean, I don't
question.
know. We have been living under British, rule, but
Yeah.
this is new to me that the British give the name. It's actually from the king side when the kings were there and they were ruling this land. They put the name Lahore for that specific area.
They must have really liked it.
Yeah, they have their what you call takht yunda.
What?
Their that was their capital actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a historical question. Not a historical question. A philosophical question for you.
Yeah.
Could you, or how would you, or how do you um, debunk Christianity from your viewpoint, from your from your cultural philosophy?
We didn't. We still have, like when the Britishers came, and the
Yeah, but
people came.
Jesus is God. Now you don't accept that, so obviously you've debunked it.
Oh, okay, in that way.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm born in a Muslim, house,
Yes, of
and
course.
born in a Muslim country. So it was not debunk. I didn't know about the Jesus. So the first information I get, it was that he was just a messenger of God, nothing much.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy for me to go with this thing because I get that philosophy from my own house.
Mm-hmm.
you know I was not, you can say that I was illiterate about the other religion. So what I found in my house, I accepted that, and then I grew up and I understood, okay, we have so many religion around me, and there are people who are Christian, and when I got in 15 years old, then I find out that there are people who even consider that there is no God, and that was a very like a different stuff for me. Like it was unbelievable for me.
Okay,
Like
so,
how?
so you're 15 years old. You find out there are people that are not God believers. Did you question why you believed in God and they don't?
No, because one of them was my grandfather's brother.
Yeah.
So I cannot question him because he was like a senior member to the family, one of.
Right. So
So
why wouldn't you have looked a little bit deeper into what your great uncle or yeah, your great uncle believed? Because it didn't it make sense to you in any way? Like weren't you
we
curious?
haven't had
Weren't you
we
curious?
haven't had a lot of time to chat with him, when he jumped into that state. So most of, he was a kind of socially boycott. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Like, yeah, it's like, the family was not, meeting with him. He was not get called into the family functions and everything, but we just knew that one of them is a non-believer, you know.
So he wasn't called into family functions, and he was shunned because he was an atheist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's new to me. I've never heard of Muslim families shunning those. But hold on a second. Wouldn't that be apostasy?
I mean, it was old times, and that the Islam and the stuff was. I'm talking about the 50 years back.
Okay.
And then I'm talking about when he was very old and I was 15,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
I find out that someone is there,
Especially
one
in your
of us.
family. Especially in your family.
Yeah. And in the, you know, also there was a thing that he migrated to Germany with his family. So he just came back sometime. He was living in a different city, Karachi. So all we got to know that he came back. He stayed there, you know, from the other people, and
Yeah.
because it was discussed in our family that the great uncle, and the uncle came, and he's living there, and he was brother of my grandfather. So they had meetings together, but not with the whole family.
Wow. I'm sorry that that happened. You could have learned a lot from him.
I mean, we didn't get a chance.
Too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hold on a second. So with your family were keeping you or keeping the young kids apart from him so that he wouldn't infect them with ideas or something.
No, it's more like he chose that path. Now he's on the different path, you know. So that, like, there are plenty of restrictions to us, to sitting, eating from. You cannot eat from, and you are the one who's gonna pay for your meals and foods and things, and you cannot accept gifts, and things like that. I don't know how they, put these things in it, but that's how it worked. So maybe, and they were old people, so they were more, religious one. So that's how they just stop him. And also, when it came to the marriages, and if he get into the family, then of course he has some kids, daughters and sons. So he'll gonna involve into the family for the marriages. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a war for them, to stop their children and stop their own children. So what they did to stop. They did it because they didn't want to have a war between brothers or into the family.
I shouldn't laugh, but it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
I have,
it is what it is.
I have a
I've told
similar
you the
story.
truth.
I have a similar story. My grandfather was a Polish Jew, served in the Tsar's army, and at the end of the First World War, whatever, he came back. He was deathly ill, and he couldn't keep food down. He was withering away. There was no cure for him, and they brought him pork fat, and they just made him eat pork fat, and he recovered. But ever since after that time, he was not allowed to attend certain religious ceremonies. They were Jewish, and he couldn't attend certain funerals and certain ceremonies. I don't know what there are, because he was unclean by virtue of recovering from eating pork fat.
You see, the insanity is not restricted to Christianity.
No,
It's like a rap line.
Christianity is just a Jewish cult.
Actually, there was a time for the first couple of hundred years of the current millennium that it was very difficult to distinguish between who was a Jew and who was a Christian in society.
Circumcision's all about.
I missed that one.
That's what circumcision's all about.
Correct. Okay, so what I heard when I listened to the experts is that Paul recognized that Christianity was waning because the Christians insisted in order to join the Christian Jesus Club you had to get circumcised, and and most of the guys said yeah, no. And so Paul said, bullshit, you do not need to be circumcised. Come on to the club, keep your clothes on, zip your pants up, don't worry about it. And it flourished.
Well, even worse than that, to be a Jew, you had to be born of a Jewish father, I think it was.
Mother,
Jewish mother, or you couldn't be Jewish, and
right.
Christianity let anybody be a Jew.
Exactly.
And that was Dumont in The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. He was That's how he described it.
Who was that?
I believe the author's name is Dumont. He wrote the Rise and Fall, Rise,
I
the
haven't
Rise
heard.
and Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire.
No, wasn't that Gibbons or something?
Gibbons, maybe that's one. He was a notorious alcoholic, but he
Yeah,
had he did a great work. Yeah, it was Gibbons. I'm sorry. I've only read like Vonnegut, some Steinbeck. That's it. I don't read much.
I love reading it. It's you right in front of you from a page, things pop out at you that you do not expect, or they cause some kind of an emotion one way or the other. I think it's incredible.
Oh, it's awesome. That's what Sagan described it as, a way to share the memory with other people. When you're reading a book, you're meditating with another mind. And that's what enlarged the capacity of human knowledge. It's books.
I still think that the circumcision ritual, or the belief that circumcision is a covenant between the infant and God, is even more ridiculous than the story of the resurrection, which is obviously just it's ridiculous. That's the high point of Christianity, is the resurrection. With Judaism, it's the circumcision of the child. It's the biggest celebration, or one of the biggest. It is let's say this, it is a time of celebration. Now, this little child is being mutilated, screaming its lungs out, and people are singing, and they're celebrating, and there's food, and there's drink, and there's coffee, and there's tea, and there's schmoozing.
He does the same. The kid does the same when he gets born and jump into this world. The kid does the same.
Yeah, but the kid's still whole. For the first week of my life was the best week of my life ever.
How do you know?
I was intact, and I had no problem with it.
Yeah, I wanted to know that. I love that question. How do you know?
Well, I had no problem with being intact, is all I can tell you. And I can tell you that for a fact.
Okay. I'll take your fact.
Okay. 1 week. 1 week in my life.
Look, if you're a Jew, you make your best deal you can with God, and then you run with it.
Yeah, but if you're a Jew, you have to accept that there is a God, that God is a thing. I can't I can't accept that.
Yeah. Well, me neither. I was just trying to be slightly entertaining. God is basically bloatware, and heaven is vaporware. So that's my outlook.
I think that Christianity is mimicware. It ridicule the depths of Christianity, and I don't think that you're going to have Christians left. And the first target I have is women. I for the life of me, I can never, ever, and will never, ever understand how a woman accepts Christianity. I can't accept, or would accept, or has accepted Christianity. Can somebody please explain to me?
In those dark early days of Christianity.
No. I'm talking about today, right now, as we sit here and
speak.
speak.
The heritage. Women were responsible for Christianity persisting. It was the women, and it's just a direct outgrowth of that tradition.
Well, there's certainly that had outgrown by certainly the Middle Ages, surely.
Well, the Enlightenment I think, was a turning point for all that. Yeah.
Well, that's
should have
the
been
Enlightenment, 1515.
Yeah, Francis Bacon, science, faith, science, true science, justice, and reason. Age of reason.
So why wouldn't that catch on with the majority of the people, and how could it be stifled by the institution of non-reason? the Catholic or the Church.
Well, all the power structures, all the monarchies are just models of religious hierarchy to the universe, and people were too busy picking the bugs out of their hair to really think about other stuff like that.
You hit the nail on the head. It's all about power and money and basically control. You control the people. You tell them what to think. Do you know that when there are countries today, and it started also way back when, that whoever the king was, he got
Chosen by God.
he got to choose the religion for the country.
Yeah.
That's how the Russians became Christians and not Muslims.
Well, and Constantine, right? First Christian, was it the Roman? It was first Christian Roman emperor, Constantine.
Constantine was an emperor in the Roman.
Right, he became
in the Roman Empire. Yeah. Well, his mother was a Christian, and but he became more of an Arian, and not a Catholic.
Yeah, I haven't read much history.
Oh, okay. Well, from what I know about Constantine, he was more of an Arian. He subscribed more to the excuse me, Arianist philosophy of Jesus than the Orthodox Catholic understanding. Basically, when it comes down to the Trinity, the Constantine believed like the Arians did about the Trinity, and the Orthodox, the Catholics who won out in the end, believed differently about the Trinity.
The Holy Roman Empire was when Christianity arrived. It was, it had lean years at first, but it's going along now on all 8 cylinders. But it arrived, I believe, with the Holy Roman Empire. Am I correct?
Christianity?
Yes.
Yeah, Christianity arrived in the year in the year 33, I suppose.
Well, no, that's the lean years. That's the salad days.
So what are you talking about then? Like the consolidated? That arrived
entrenched in the major power, the political powers of the world.
Okay, I'll tell you how it worked. This is okay. Before the Roman Empire collapsed, while the Roman Empire was still in power,
pagan.
Yeah, but the Roman Empire itself was still in power.
Yeah.
Christianity was made the religion of the Roman Empire, and paganism was to be dismantled and not supported. That's essentially what happened there.
But when?
Probably in the year 380s.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, right?
And is that Constantine's era?
No, that's way after Constantine.
Okay.
Well, sometimes no, it's probably at the end of Constantine. But then the Roman Empire really came to a close about 100 years later. And in that time, the Christianity had set up its bishop and its institution and the whole infrastructure that allowed it to be to have contact with the congregants and have control and power and etc. etc. etc.
The Vatican?
No, the bishoprics of Christianity, because there were many different Christianities. Arianism being one of them.
Right.
The
Gnostics,
Orthodoxy, Gnostics, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, when it came down to the Council of Nicaea, it was between two schools: the school of Arian and the school of the Catholics. The Arian thinking and the Catholic thinking. And the difference was this. The difference was in the Trinity, the Catholics believed that God and Jesus and the Spirit were all one and the same. And the Arians believed that God is eternal there was a time when Jesus was not. So Jesus is below God, but above humans. And the Council of Nicaea took a vote, and the winner was the Catholics, where the Trinity means that God and Jesus and the Spirit are all one.
So Jesus was fully human and fully God. Is that where that came from?
Yes. Where the Arians were God is God and Jesus is the Son of God.
Yeah. But and the Catholics is Jesus was fully God and fully human. And that is where you go, boing.
Now, what do you think would have happened if the Arian perspective of the Trinity was accepted as orthodoxy?
Oh.
Wouldn't that have been a much better fucking outcome down the years?
I have not let my imagination run in that vector.
You certainly wouldn't be having Darth Dawkins running around about God is Jesus and Jesus is God.
Yeah. Well, it's just weasel wordmanship. Like again, fully human, fully God. It's just
another proof that in history makes bad choices.
Doesn't the Trinity, destroy this notion of God being the absolute, fundamental, united, whatever?
Well, no, God would still be that, but Jesus wouldn't be that.
Well, I mean, right now, as the argument that we hear from the people like Darth right now, that, he says, to have more than one absolute is incoherent. So, these polytheists,
right.
He argues against them, that, you can't have more than one absolute. It has to be unified.
I guarantee if you tried to call him on that, he'd fucking go off.
They would go off, because you see how when we're talking, like none of us are going off about anything because we're just talking. But when you talk about something that somebody is cognitively dissonant about, but we know is real, their system just can't handle it. Physiologically, you have to react, and it comes out in their going off, in their raging.
That's why I'm still a bachelor.
What?
Just making a joke about women. Cognitive dissonance in women.
Oh, misogyny.
Yeah, misogyny, an affectionate misogyny. They're always too good. They're always too good for me.
Okay, they're always too good for you. Yeah. Okay, well that's not their problem. That's a you problem.
Well, everything is a you problem.
Yeah.
A me problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So women, don't feel too bad. You're all good.
Yeah. Cognitive dissonance is when you can't seem to agree with somebody, and you go, I've said it as clearly as I can. I've demonstrated it's real, and you still think I'm doing this or that.
Well, you know what? These people, these Christians, and look, they're obviously functional human beings that reason most everything out in their lives, right? But when it comes to this Jesus, they're cognitively dissonant. They absolutely are closed-minded and blinkered. There's nothing can change their mind, even though they're presented with the facts. Except, I believe that they are not presented with the facts often enough. The more we present them with the facts, and the more people that run shows that present the facts, and a lot of them do. I love to react to like Myth Vision, him and his guests, for one, Harmonic Atheist, these people who have an experience of both sides, and they've made the right decision, the rational decision. I love that.
Well, the enemy of fact is faith, and that's the first place they go when they start feeling uncomfortable.
I got a question for you, Bill.
Yeah.
Tell me about Bill Bastu But stop telling me about Bill Pasteur when he reaches the age of 30.
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Okay, so Bill Pasteur is born. Tell me about Bill Pasteur all the way up to the age of 30.
Bill Pasteur is a creation in 1980 when I was having a recording studio and producing bands and everybody, punk bands in Phoenix.
How old
And
were you? How old are you?
I was like 23.
All right, good. Tell me about the next 7 years.
The next 7 years. Oh, the next 7 years. Well, that's the chem depth stuff.
No, from 23 to 23 to 30. Let's
Open the recording. Okay, open a recording studio. Went for 1 year, put out a bunch of stuff, local stuff, and it crashed and burned. But I wound up with a chemical dependence on heroin and cocaine because of it being brought to me.
Don't make excuses, and it's not your fault. Carry on.
Well, okay. So after the studio crashed and burned, I got into pest control, door-to-door salesman, a penny a bug, and all I can eat. And I did that for several years, and my chem dep got worse. I wound up in prison. So got it for a short time. Got out of prison, went back into pest control, and all the time I've been writing and creating music, but I haven't ever finished it or published it or anything. So that's up to age 30. That's pretty much it. Off and on the street and chemical dependence roller coaster.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else want to give us a 0 to 30 biography? Or sorry.
Yeah.
If you're under 30, then it's from here to 30.
I knew I was an atheist when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
Oh shit! You beat me. I was 9.
Yeah, it just was silly.
Yeah.
The story was silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I knew I was an atheist was because at 9 years old, I did start thinking about my grandfather had died. I love my grandfather. And I started thinking about he was always he was there, right? He was just there. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. He's in the ground. So that got me thinking. I should lie in bed at night thinking, this. I had this this atlas, this book. It wasn't a globe. It was a book about the universe and the cosmos and all the galaxies and all the. It just goes on forever and ever and ever. And I was thinking about that. And my grandfather's dead, and I just realized that that's fucking it. He died, and that's pretty much it. I am going to die. And it's going to pretty much be it. And everybody is going to die. And that is going to be it. Done. And that is a knowledge. That is a knowledge. Okay? This is not a belief. It's knowledge. And I've brought this knowledge with me since the age of 9 up until today.
For me, it was the story of grace. A pastor. I grew up more like Baptist, and he explained grace as, basically we can never deserve heaven. We can never earn our way into it, no matter how good we are. It's God's grace that in the end allows us in there. And I thought, so, that didn't make sense to me that you're going to work your whole life for, trying to be good, trying to do good things, just so you can be given something that you never earned in the first place. The whole concept. They lost me at grace. That's what kind of turned the tables for me.
Yeah, I never understood how torture could atone for a sin. I never understood what sin was.
Well, hold on a second. I still don't. I need to first understand what grace is. What is grace?
Well, as it was explained to me, grace is when God, if he allows you into heaven, it is not by any works. It's not by any deeds. It's only by God's grace is that He allows us into heaven, although we do not deserve it and cannot deserve it. There's nothing we can do to really earn our way into heaven.
Oh,
in the end, even
anarchy.
Kind of like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or
Okay,
all I got.
So it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like you can never deserve. In other words, you can never deserve heaven by any means whatsoever. In the end, it's only God's grace, Him giving you what you not only do not deserve, but giving you what you cannot deserve.
But you'll never know about it either way.
No.
So what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was always suspicious of having to accept something as the truth that you can never confirm until you're dead. It rang bells for me, and I used to contemplate life after death, and I came up with what life before birth or before conception.
Yes, I thought about that.
I was comforted by that at an early age. I didn't fear death, and everything else you read it's just silliness. It's just ancient people getting stuff wrong and trying to push people around.
So this is how I look at the Calvinists and the evangelicals like Darth Dawkins. Okay. He believes that God ordained everything, so He's known everything from the beginning of time, right? Even about you. So if you are in God's mind from the beginning of time, hey, Tyler, could you mute? You got your background noise. Thanks, man. So if God knew about you from the beginning of time, that means you do have a before life. And then you have a life, and then you have an afterlife. It has to be that way if God knows everything, omniscient, about everything all the time and in the future, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I stumble upon the idea that God made you to do, and everything that you're going to do, God knows. You live your whole life not believing Him. He knew you were going to do it. So, He made you to burn in hell. There's no love there.
Right. So my point, let me just finish my point about the before life.
Yeah.
As I am alive, I have no knowledge about my before life. Right? Because think about it. Think about everybody has a before life according to the fundamental Christianity and to fundamentalist Christianity, to Christian nationalism, etc., etc. Everybody has a before life because God knows you from the time God became omniscient, which is never, which is forever or whatever. So there's no point in claiming that there's no before life. My point, finally, is that as I know my before life, so I will know my afterlife. Nothing, nada.
Well, let's say there is a heaven. There's a perfect joy in heaven. You make it to heaven, perfect joy. Except you look around and some people you loved, like your mom or your dad who are atheists, aren't there. How can heaven be perfect joy if people you love are not there and are suffering eternally?
I'd just go join the atheists.
Yeah, well, that's why I say heaven is vaporware.
If God chooses me to go to heaven, but yet He chooses all the other atheists to go to non-heaven, I would fucking battle God until He submitted, till He tapped out.
Well, what I would do is
to send me to the atheists.
I would volunteer to God, let me go to hell so that my mother can come up here and be in heaven.
Bullshit. He's not going to listen. You have to wrestle him until he taps out.
You have to love him more. No, you
can't.
can't.
No, you wrestle until
That's
he
what
taps
he
out.
would say.
That's
you
the
love your
only
mother.
way. That's the only
you love
way.
your mother more than being with me.
Yes.
So you can't.
So
you have to love me.
Exactly. And the only way you're going to get him to change is to wrestle him until he taps out. That's it.
Like Abraham?
Who's Abraham?
He wrestled an angel. I guess he didn't really wrestle
No,
God.
no. Well, God, you wrestle this fucking God until he taps out. And I'm telling you, this is what you have to do. Don't miss your chance.
And God cheated.
Of course.
Sold.
God is the image of Darth Dawkins.
Aside from Darth Dawkins, you, Sydney, are the best eternal life insurance salesman I've ever met. And I'm going to sign up and I'm going to pay those premiums. And I know that when I get to heaven, it'll pay off.
Do you know, funnily enough, you are guaranteed to get your money back because my PayPal is actually based in heaven. And the more money you put into it, the more you will receive when you get to heaven. Because my PayPal will be there for you to redeem everything that you put in. It's a win-win.
Does God's money say "In God we trust"?
Or
in me we trust?
If God is America, then yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enough of this silliness. That's what I felt about religion. Enough of this silliness.
Yeah, listen, this has been streaming for coming up to 3 hours. So the last word will go to viral on the web, and that will be viral on the web. It's probably going to be short. Oh, no, not really. He's going to be the longest one. Your life up to the age of 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how old are you now?
Yeah, I'm 30.
Okay, so your whole life. You have to get your biography of your whole life in 5 minutes.
Fate. The one word. I saw that the things changed. I saw, plan different, things happen differently. And, life has its own track. And you just have to go with the flow. I mean, yes, you plan stuff, it happens, but not mostly. Things change, circumstances change, and not only your decision change your life, even decisions of the other people in your surrounding, in your, even you're on the job or in the life or somewhere, things change not just what you are doing, it's changed by the people, who are living around you. So yeah, that's what I find out.
When did you go through any of your, if you had any changes in or realizations about reality?
After, I mean, after college, not even after college, I was in the school and I find out. I I just find out that, the thing is, I want everything and I didn't have it. You know what I mean?
No, you have to explain.
It was like, um, I born and, things was good, had a family, things were quite happy. And then, when the financial status changed and, I was not having what I want to have. So that moment actually, gave me the realization that the reality is there and, things are different.
And how long have you been cruising with that knowledge?
Until now. And still I'm going
Yeah,
with it.
but when did it start?
It never stops.
Well, when you were 3 years old, it hadn't started yet.
No, it
Okay,
was like
let's see.
after, before it was, the small things and where you have to be
Oh, kitty. Yeah.
hello, well, when you were depend on your parents, and you may find out that if they are saying it's wrong. And if they are not giving you a thing and saying that it's not good for you, might be it's not good for me. But then I find out that it's not just about good or bad.
Yeah.
It's also about, if they cannot afford it, they said it's not good for you. You know what I mean?
You always say that, but no, I don't know what you mean.
I mean, so the things were quite different. So when I realized that, like you can say a bike. If I wanted to have a bike, they said that you are not reached to a certain age where you can ride a bike. But then I saw that there was kid who had a bike and they were riding it, and they were having the whole helmet, and the knees, what you ever, I mean, all the
Knee pads.
safety.
Yeah.
And they were riding it, but with the safety. And because they cannot afford the bike, so they told me it's not good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I find out, if you could buy a bike with the safety, then it's all right for me. So I find out the thing, that you have to, it's not just you. The decision of others also changed your life. And when I was able to, approach everything, so I get that. I understood it, that you have to, work hard and achieve the goals. And sometimes it happens, then I achieve the goal, just I got another milestone, or pattern changed. Things got in a different way, went into the different way.
Go with the
So
flow. You said so.
yeah. So I have, a different perspective about reality.
Let's see. There she is. I can't. It's hard to do that.
There you go. I'm back.
There she is.
Hey, what happened? You just,
My Google Meet window just disconnected.
I think that cat is,
I lost the
not,
I lost the network
yeah.
connection. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay. The white cat is, not in a good mood, Bill.
Oh, she's a little bitch.
Boy, you really do hate women.
Well, there's both. They're both. Like the black one's a sweetheart. The white one's a little bitch. You feed her the food. She's crying for food. You put the food in the plate. She walks up and sniffs it, doesn't eat, and walks away.
But maybe she's not crying for food. Maybe she's crying for attention. Give her some hugs.
Oh, I do. They're all, they're
Then,
fine.
instead of giving her food, give her hugs.
I'm good to my cats. I got a black one and a white one. The whole yin yang thing.
Yeah, no, you got to understand, Kay. I have a dog, and me and my dog are almost like constant companions. It's not a human animal relationship. It's a companion relationship. It's really nice.
Well, I'm speaking a little bit whimsically, but I actually am really good with cats. I've had them all my life, and both of these are spoiled. That's the main thing. Cats have to be spoiled. It has to be done their way and at their convenience.
Well, this is true. This is
Yeah.
true because my dog's boyfriend is a cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he comes over, several times a day, maybe twice a day or 3 times a day, and they hang around together and and interact like animals interact, who are nice to each other. Animals are actually nice, and I stay out of it when they do that. I just stay away.
Yeah, I was speaking earlier about how outdoor cats have a shorter lifespan than indoor cats, and I had the best cat I ever had was the black one, and he wanted to go out every day. He would scratch the blinds and make a big mess and all this stuff, so I'd let him out, and he had
No,
a
no,
little rat.
no. You shoot him with the water gun.
Well, that's actually how I got him. He came walking in my door one day, and I decided to give him shots and take him for my own. So I went around to the other apartments and asked them if the cat was there. He had litter boxes in 3 different apartments, and they were all feeding him dry food. He had 3 different names. The Mexicans called him Sancho.
So you
The
should have
black
left it that way.
No, I wanted to give him his shots and give him a home. So I lured him in with wet food. They were just giving him dry food. So I got him
Yeah.
with wet food.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of him, and this other white one was abandoned. Somebody moved out and left her in there. And when they came to clean the apartment, they opened it up and she ran out. So she was living under a bush, okay? And this black cat, his name was Monster, he would go and sit with her. And they bonded a little bit. But he would come in my apartment and eat. So I lured her in with wet food, moving it a little bit. It took me 2 weeks to get her in the apartment.
Oh, yeah. So
then I moved over here. The black cat went out one day and didn't come back.
Oh.
So I got this other. After a month, I went to the shelter and got this other black one, okay, to be her companion. But they have not been getting along. It's been about 2 years. But the white one's resentful because the black one always insinuates herself in between her and me and gets more of my attention. But she's always hanging out, in the periphery. So it's just life. It keeps me going.